So, welcome everyone. So, today we are going to finish the July monthly current affairs magazine as we did yesterday. उसमें थोड़ा सा ध्यान गड़बड़ हो गया था लैंडस्केप वाला मोड. So in this we are going to finish this magazine in a single go, and it will take approximately 4 to 5 hours in between that to completely finish July 2025 magazine. ठीक है, मेरा इसमें रोल बता देता हूँ. व्हाट आई एम गोइंग टू डू इज दे विल बी अ AI वॉइस जो मैं ऑन करूँगा, एंड दैट विल रीड. दैट इज़ अ वेरी नेचुरल वॉइस. It will be just like another human reading, because for me reading 108 pages, it will be a long time. So smart game खेलते हैं, वो रीड करेगा. What I am going to do is, for example, कोई important topic ख़त्म हो, उसके बाद मैं उसको explain कर दूंगा. That is how we are going to proceed. उससे एक comprehensive understanding and holistic outlook हमें मिल जाएगा उस topic का. और कोई ग्राफ वगैरह है वो एक्सप्लेन नहीं करेगा वो AI, वो मुझे करना पड़ेगा. वो बता दूंगा कि कुछ इंपॉर्टेंट रहता है. सो इट विल बी एक्सप्लेन. एक तरीके से हमारा आज का एम है कि एक बार पूरा जुलाई का मैगज़ीन कवर कर लें और जो प्राइम चीज़ें हैं उसको समझ लें. ठीक है, जिससे कि एक ओवरऑल कवरेज हो जाए. और आप इस वीडियो को बार बार रेफ़र कर सकते हो समझने के लिए. आप क्या कर सकते हो, आप अपनी मैगज़ीन खोलो अपने सामने. ठीक है, इसको लगाओ वीडियो को, इसमें जो मैं एक्सप्लेन कर रहा हूँ साथ साथ इसका एक्सप्लेनेशन सुनते रहो. ठीक है, और अपने मैगज़ीन को पढ़ते रहो और समझते रहो. सो जब ऐसे करोगे तो इट विल बी हैविंग अ बेटर इम्पैक्ट ऑन योर अंडरस्टैंडिंग. सो लेट्स स्टार्ट. ठीक है, लेट्स स्टार्ट. सो इन दिस मैगज़ीन we have polity and governance. Number 1, obviously polity and governance. इसके अंदर important है colonialism. Then you have online content regulation, national cooperative policy, PRI, finance, interstate water dispute, cost of politics in India, lowering of age of voting, news in short, disruption of parliament, removal of judges in higher judiciary, national standard of civil service training institute, bills of lading bill. ठीक है, देन इंटरनेशनल रिलेशंस में वी हैव इंडिया UK कॉम्प्रहेंसिव इकोनॉमिक एंड ट्रेड सीटा, इंडिया मालदीव्स रिलेशन, चाइना हाइड्रो पावर प्रोजेक्ट ऑन ब्रह्मपुत्र रिवर, इंडिया अफ्रीका रिलेशंस, इंडिया लैटिन अमेरिका एंड कैरिबियन कंट्री टाइज. देन यू हैव ब्रिक्स रियो डी जेनेरो डिक्लेरेशन, गीलोंग ट्रीटी अंडर ऑकस, यू हैव गिरमितिया कम्युनिटी. देन यू हैव न्यूज़ इन शॉर्ट में कालादान मल्टी मॉडल ट्रांसिट ट्रांसपोर्ट प्रोजेक्ट. देन यू हैव US decides to pull out of UNESCO, Group of Friends, GOF, what is pact for future, then International Criminal Court, ICC, E3 countries, this is new. Then Global Peace Index 2025, Red Sea, New Caledonia, then M23 rebels, Henley Passport Index 2025. Then economy में Prime Minister धन धान्य कृषि योजना, PMDDKY, Public Debt in India, Employability and Skilling, the Future of Work, Research Development Innovations Scheme, Financial Inclusion in India, Digital India Mission. After that we have intellectual property rights, news in short में Alternative Investment Fund, Digital Payment Index, Financial Condition Index, Global Findex, Stable Coins, CROPIC, Agriculture Outlook 2025. Then Offensive Area Atomic Mineral Operating Right Rules, Global Capability Center. Then DOT releases Draft National Telecom Policy 2025, Aluminium and Copper. ठीक है, देन सिक्योरिटी में वी हैव क्वांटम साइबर रेडीनेस. ओके, देन यू हैव ऑपरेशन महादेव, ऑपरेशन मेडमैक्स, प्रोजेक्ट 17A, एक्सटेंडेड रेंज एंटी सबमरीन रॉकेट, आस्त्रा मिसाइल, प्रलय मिसाइल एक्सरसाइजेस इन न्यूज़. ओके, ठीक है. नाउ इन्वायरमेंट में वी हैव अर्बन रेजिलियंस. ओके, इथेनॉल ब्लेंडिंग, ये बहुत टाइम से चल रहा है, 2022 से चल रहा है ये. ठीक है, देन यू हैव CSS इंटीग्रेटेड डेवलपमेंट ऑफ वाइल्ड लाइफ हैबिटेट स्कीम. Then Convention on International Trade in Endangered Species of Wild Fauna and Flora CITES, Pacific Ring of Fire. Then News in Shorts, इसमें Sustainable Development Goals SDG Report 2025 आ गई है. Then National Indicator Framework. Then you have Draft Rules for Carbon Credit Trading Scheme issued. Then you have New Rules for Contaminated Site notified. ठीक है. Then Global Wetland Outlook 2025 released. Uttarakhand to assess tourist carrying capacity in Nainital district. ICJ delivers decision on tackling climate change. Aditi scheme launched. Changing nature of floods. ठीक है. After that we have Sea Flood, a unified inundation forecasting system inaugurated. Reclaim in framework. Weather derivatives. Human-made dams have shifted Earth's poles. Winter fog experiment. we have Kariyachali Island, we have Chenab River, Tokara Island, Bitra Island. After that, social issues, 5 years of national education policy, then rising suicides among students, social isolation, news in shorts, role of social organization, child adoption, Kasi Declaration adopted in Youth a Spiritual Summit for Drug-Free India, Talash Initiative, State of Food Security and Nutrition in the World, 2025 report released. Then you have Science and Technology. Science and Technology में सबसे पहले निसार, NASA ISRO Synthetic Aperture Radar Satellite, Black Hole Merger. News in short में we have Bluetooth Mesh Networking, AI Alliance Network, WHO launches 3x35 initiative, WHO UNICEF data on immunization, Phenome India, National Biobank. Culture इसमें है चोला गंगम लेक, मराठा मिलिट्री लैंडस्केप, इंटरनेशनल चेस फेडरेशन FIDE, ठीक है. द न्यूज़ इन शॉर्ट, कश्मीरी पश्मीरा शॉल, पिपरावा रिलिक्स, एथिक्स, ठीक है. एथिक्स और प्लेसेस इन न्यूज़ ओके पढ़ सकते हो. प्लेसेस इन न्यूज़ तो वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट है, लेकिन एथिक्स इज हेल से नॉट दैट इंपॉर्टेंट. देख लेंगे ऊपर से थोड़ा थोड़ा. सेलिब्रिटीज एंड एंडोर्समेंट ऑफ प्रोडक्ट्स, स्कीम्स इन न्यूज़, क्योंकि हमारा कल्चर तक ठीक है समझ में आता है. प्लेसेस इन न्यूज़ भी बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट है, लेकिन जो स्कीम्स इन न्यूज़ है हाँ ठीक है पढ़ लेंगे, ये भी आ ही जाता है, रिपीट हो ही जाता है ऊपर. एंड सेलिब्रिटीज एंड एंडोर्समेंट ऑफ प्रोडक्ट्स, ठीक है, ये कर लेंगे. सो विदाउट फर्दर डिले लेट्स स्टार्ट फ्रॉम. मैं AI वॉइस ऑन करता हूँ. इट्स अ वेरी नेचुरल वॉइस, सो ऐसा नहीं लगेगा कोई रोबोट पढ़ रहा है. इट विल बी लाइक अ ह्यूमन रीडिंग टू यू. एंड आई एम देयर. मैं एक्सप्लेन करता हूँ. अगर कोई इंपॉर्टेंट इसने इन्फोग्राफिक नहीं पढ़ा या ग्राफ नहीं पढ़ा, सो आई विल एक्सप्लेन इट. एंड मेरा कहने का मतलब है आई एम नॉट अ टीचर यार. मैं भी एक एस्पिरेंट हूँ. और द थिंग हेयर इज़ वी आर गोइंग टू एक सस्टेनेबल तरीके से, एक कॉम्प्रहेंसिव तरीके से अच्छे से पढ़ाई करते हैं. दैट इज़ माई एम टू मेक दीज वीडियोज़, सो दैट आप इसको कभी भी रेफर कर सकते हो एंड इट विल बी अ कॉम्प्रहेंसिव सॉल्यूशन फॉर योर करंट अफेयर्स. ठीक है, सो लेट्स स्टार्ट. पॉलिटी एंड गवर्नेंस.
1.1 Digital Colonialism. Why in the news? Former Indian Vice President raised concerns of digital colonialism, stating dependence on foreign digital infrastructure and not invasion as the prime threat to sovereignty. About digital colonialism, meaning it is a theoretical framework that establishes the primacy in digital technologies by big tech companies that extract, analyze, and own user data for their own profit and market influence. It includes the decentralized capture and management of data from individuals, with or without their explicit consent, threatening state and individual autonomy. Key pillars of dominance characterizing digital colonialism: economic domination. Big corporations seize the resources of foreign countries by creating technological dependencies. OEG, monopoly over search engines, Google. Desktop operating systems, Microsoft Windows. Social. Networking platforms, Facebook, Twitter, etc. Imperial control of architecture, proprietary software and non-free licensing regime restrict modification, access for other nations, locking them out of digital self-sufficiency. OEG. App Store policies, Apple, Google, exercise unilateral decisions over what apps and features are allowed. Global surveillance capitalism, advanced data science and machine learning enable corporations to track user behavior and make favorable business decisions based on global surveillance. OEG, Facebook-enabled mass data harvesting by third parties like Cambridge Analytica, influencing elections. Tech hegemony. Few big tech firms steer the narrative around how technology should expand and define the economic ramifications of such an expansion. OEG, Amazon AWS, Microsoft Azure, and Google Cloud control a vast majority of worldwide cloud service, giving them unparalleled power over global data storage, processing, and analytics. Cultural imperialism, depicted in the homogeneity and superiority of technologies owned by few and underpinning values, language, and culture of others. OEG, content curation and algorithmic bias on social platforms prioritize content that aligns with dominant cultural values. Discourse of benevolence, framing digital technologies as evidently good, connectivity as progress and human rights. OEG, Facebook's free basics rollout in Africa positioned as philanthropy, was criticized for potentially serving as a tool to expand market share and acquire user data. Key issues with digital colonialism: rising north-south disparity. Rapid digitalization, fueled by data monetization practices, has exacerbated significant disparities as most technology giants are stationed in the north. National security. Inadequate local infrastructure exposes critical sectors to vulnerabilities and foreign manipulation. Privacy, digital rights. Reliance on foreign digital platforms risks violations of privacy and digital rights, including threat of targeted state surveillance. Existential threat to local business. Dominance by global platforms undermines competition in online ads, transport, retail, and news, risking indigenous enterprise survival. Economic losses. Digital tech giants use base erosion and profit shifting, BEPS, to move profits to low or no tax countries with little real business there, reducing taxes in countries like India. Difficulty in regulation. Existing legal instruments are incapable of regulating cyberspace due to its transboundary nature. Network effect. Once platforms reach critical mass, exponential growth locks in users, stifling local competition. Some measures taken by various countries to tackle digital colonialism: India, Digital Personal Data Protection Act, 2023, DPDP Act. It establishes a comprehensive framework for protection and processing of personal data and is applicable to processing of personal data outside India if it is for offering goods or services in India. Competition Act, 2002, to prevent unfair practices, protect consumers, and ensure free trade. Global advocacy. India has advocated strongly at G20, BRICS, and WTO for data localization, digital sovereignty, and fairer rules. E.g., under India's G20 leadership, a task force was created for expanding digital public infrastructure, DPI, globally. Other efforts: ONDC, Open Network for Digital Commerce, an alternative to e-commerce monopolies, India Stack, India's own foundational DPI, etc. Other nations: European Union, Data Act, Data Governance Act, AI Act, and General Data Protection Rules to safeguard European citizens' data rights and promote digital autonomy. China, Digital Silk Road, a core component of China's Belt and Road Initiative, aims at building closer ties with states in emerging markets in telecommunication, AI, cloud computing, surveillance technologies, and other high-tech areas. Russia, Sovereign Internet Law, 2019, created a legal framework for centralized state management of the Internet in Russia. Way forward: digital sovereignty. States must exercise authority over all its digital assets, including the entire value chain of data, infrastructure, operations, supply chain, and knowledge. Data localization. Data to only be stored, transferred, and processed within national borders and legal jurisdictions. Comprehensive framework for governance. Develop frameworks for data generation, protection, sharing, and infrastructure. Managing cross-border data. Flows. Countries must continuously calibrate their policies to balance growth, public interest, and global tech integration. Reforming the data lifecycle. Integrated management from creation to destruction, reuse for optimum utilization. Inclusive digital future. Bridging digital divide, promoting inclusivity, and upholding ethical standards essential for the benefit of entire mankind. Conclusion. The regulatory landscape surrounding digital sovereignty is quite complex and has caused countries to respond through measures like Splinternet that fragments the internet along geopolitical lines. Considering the importance of global digital communication and connectivity, diplomatic efforts are needed for ensuring digital solidarity. To read more about DPDP Act 2023 and DPI, refer to Article 4.2, Draft Digital Personal Data Protection, DPDP, Rules 2025 in January 2025, Monthly Current Affairs Magazine, and Article 3.1, Digital Public Infrastructure, DPI, in July 2024, Monthly Current Affairs Magazine respectively. 1.2, Online Content Regulation, Why in the News.
Okay.
Ministry of Information and Broadcasting, I&B, has banned public access to several OTT platforms for streaming obscene content. More on the news. They were banned under the Information Technology Act, 2000, and the Information Technology, Intermediary Guidelines and Digital Media Ethics Code, Rules, 2021. The Supreme Court in Ranjit D.U. Deshi v. State of Maharashtra, 1965, defined obscenity as a reasonable restriction to free speech. Article 19. Need for content regulation, societal reach and influence. With more than 950 million people having access to internet, unregulated content can influence diverse sections of society. Curbing violence and violent behavior. E.g., a 2010 study analyzed pornography videos and found almost 90% of scenes contained physical aggression. Protecting vulnerable groups. O children. Early exposure to explicit content distorts children's understanding of healthy relationships and sexuality. O women. Such content often objectifies women, perpetuating gender inequality and normalizing violence against women. O minority. E.g., online hate speeches can fuel societal division, endangering minority. Ethical imperative. Uncontrolled dissemination of degrading material can alter social norms, values, institution of family, etc. O harm to society, e.g., the 2021 Bully Buy app incident, where images of women were auctioned online. J.S. Mill's harm principle permits limiting individual liberty when it causes harm to others or degrades societal well-being. O humans as means. Content that reduces people to objects of sexual interest violates the principle of categorical imperative of Kant, which dictates against using humanity as a means to an end. O unequal impact. According to Indian Policy Foundation, low-income people with poor digital literacy are more exposed to obscene content. Regulatory Framework for Regulation of Obscene Content, the IT Act 2000, or the Section 67 and Section 67. A. Deal with publication and transmission of obscene content in electronic form. A Section 69A empowers the central government to direct blocking of public access to information in specific grounds. O Section 79 grants safe harbor protection to intermediaries, including OTT platforms, from liability for third-party content. However, they could lose the protection if they fail to remove unlawful content upon receiving notification from the government. It Rules 2021 under IT Act 2000 issued by Ministry of Electronics and Information Technology, MEITI. It places digital news media and OTT platforms under Ministry of Information and Broadcasting Ministry, MIB. Section 294 of the Bharatiya Nyaya Sanhita, BNS, 2023, defines the term obscene, criminalizes the dissemination of material including those in electronic form. Protection of Children from Sexual Offenses, POSCO. Act made sale and distribution of child pornography illegal. Indecent representation of women, prohibition. Act 1986 prohibits the publication and distribution of materials containing indecent representations of women. Challenges in regulating content, regulatory challenges, a regulatory overlap, the division of responsibilities between MITWI, which frames IT rules, and the MIB, which oversees content, creates coordination challenges. O subjectivity. In definitions, obscenity can be interpreted differently and can lead to arbitrary actions by the government. Technological challenges. O. The end-to-end encryption and privacy features allow the spread of illegal content without scrutiny. O. Social media algorithms trap users in a feedback loop that is accidental exposure to suggestive content triggers. More such recommendations. O. Virtual private networks, VPN, enable users to bypass regulatory oversight, allowing access to prohibited websites and content. Creative freedom. Bans and strict regulation can stifle creative freedom and infringe on the constitutional right to freedom of speech and expression under Article 19(1)(a). O-Edge, ban on films such as Fire, about homosexuality. Way ahead, multi-stakeholder consultations, such as with digital platforms, content creators, etc., must be done to strike a balance between freedom of speech and social sensitivities. Use of technology. Tools such as automated profanity filters, user report-driven content scanners, and AI-powered content analyses may be utilized by OTT platforms. Strengthening self-regulation. empowering industry-led self-regulatory bodies to develop and enforce content standards could reduce direct government intervention. Learning from best practices, European Union's Audiovisual Media Services Directive extends traditional broadcast standards to digital platforms while maintaining strong privacy protections through General Data Protection Regulation, GDPR. To read more about the impact of obscene content, refer to Article 9.1, Obscenity on Digital Platforms in February 2025, Monthly Current Affairs Magazine. 1.3, National Cooperative Policy 2025, Why in the News? Recently, the Union Minister of Cooperatives unveiled the National Cooperative Policy 2025. Key features of the policy. Vision: to make cooperatives key drivers for Viksit Bharat 2047 through Sakar Se Samriddhi. Objectives: to bring 50 crore citizens who are either not members or are inactive in the cooperative sector into active participation. This is only the second such policy for the cooperative sector, after the first in 2002. Policy envisions 6 strategic mission pillars. Infographic. Other key features of policy include legislative and institutional reforms. Encourage states to amend cooperative laws to enhance transparency, autonomy, and the ease of doing business. Financial empowerment. Bring down cooperative taxes and make cooperatives eligible for sector-specific finance incentives available to corporates. Business ecosystem. Development. Encourage states' UTs to develop at least one model cooperative village. Support branding under the Bharat brand, etc. Future readiness technology. Develop a national integrating with AgriStack and cooperative stack databases. New sectors. Consider expanding cooperatives into new sectors, including clean energy, waste management, and technology. Inclusivity. Promotes inclusive participation of women, youth, SC/STs. Other. Tripling the cooperative sector's GDP contribution by 2034, increasing the number of cooperative societies by 30%, etc. Implementation by the Implementation Cell under the Ministry of Cooperation. Monitoring by the National Steering Committee on Cooperation Policy, chaired by the Union Minister of Cooperation. Cooperatives in India. Origin. With the Cooperative Credit Societies Act, 1904. Definition. It is an autonomous association of persons, united voluntarily to meet their common economic, social, and cultural needs and aspirations through a jointly owned and democratically member-controlled enterprise. Status O. India has more than 8 lakh cooperative societies, 2 lakh credit cooperatives, e.g. PACs, and 6 lakh non-credit cooperatives, e.g. consumer housing cooperatives. More than 30 crore people are associated with cooperatives in India. Top 3 cooperative sectors: housing, dairy, and primary agricultural credit society, PACs. Constitutional status. The 97th Amendment, 2011, granted constitutional status to the cooperative societies with the following provisions. Fundamental right. Added cooperative societies in Article 19, 1, C, Directive Principle. Inserted Article 43B to promote cooperatives. New Part 9B. Added Articles 243ZH to 243ZT for cooperative governance. Governance structure. Multi-state cooperatives falls under the Union list of the Constitution, governed by the Multi-State Cooperative Societies Act, 2002. State cooperatives falls under the state list of the Constitution, governed by respective state cooperative societies acts. Significance of cooperatives: uplifting the rural economies. By fostering financial inclusion, for example, about 1/3 of India's rural population is directly connected to cooperatives. Boost to farmers' income. By allowing pooling of resources, enhanced bargaining power, for example, Amul model of Gujarat. Societal impact. Empowering women, e.g. Sewa Cooperative Bank enable microfinance leading to women's employment and gender equality. Sustainable growth, e.g. Uralunga labor contract. Cooperative societies, ULCCS of Kerala, implementation of green practices in the development of infrastructure development, strengthened community ties. Cooperatives foster a sense of community, which leads to building social capital, instilling values of equality. The one-person, one-vote system ensures equality. O leadership. Cooperatives elect leaders democratically, helping develop leadership skills. For example, in Maharashtra, many legislators are associated with the cooperative movement. Challenges for cooperatives. Limited capacity and resources, especially in emerging or rural economies. Cooperatives may lack the necessary infrastructure, training, and technical expertise to function effectively. Political intervention. Interference by political parties and leaders often affects transparency and leads to inefficiency. Complex regulatory requirements, leading to bureaucratic hurdles and slow development of cooperatives in India. Lack of familiarity with digital tools. The data indicate that only 45% of cooperative members are familiar with digital tools. Regional imbalance. The top 5 states, Maharashtra, Gujarat, Telangana, Madhya Pradesh, and Karnataka, have 57% of all cooperatives. Other challenges: skilled workforce shortage, lack of cooperation among the cooperative, limited membership and resources, etc. Conclusion: cooperatives can be strengthened by encouraging private sector partnerships to boost infrastructure and provide access to advanced technology. Additionally, promoting inclusivity, merging weak societies, and ensuring transparency through measures like the Cooperative Governance Index, CGI, and the Right to Information, RTI, Act. 1.4. PRI finances. Why in the news? Recently, the Standing Committee on Rural Development and Panchayati Raj presented a report about the devolution of funds under the Panchayati Raj system. More on the news. The report flagged the partial devolution of the 3 Fs, functions, funds, functionaries, are still plaguing the PRIs despite 3 decades of 73rd Constitutional Amendment. Further, it focused on financial issues still being faced by PRIs. Issues of the finance of PRI. Declining budgetary allocations to PRIs. Successive union budgets have reduced funds allocated to PRI. Allocations, threatening fiscal decentralization, imbalance in tied and untied grants. 15th FC grants to PRIs were 40% untied, flexible use, 60% tied, specific purposes like sanitation, unused if work is done. This leads to underutilization of funds, delays in panchayat elections, due to legal or administrative hurdles. For example, Telangana's implementation of OBC reservation has led to delays. This is a major impediment to the effective utilization of funds. Issues in the functioning of the District Planning Committee, DPC. This has resulted in fragmented planning and underutilization of funds. DPC are established by state at district levels to consolidate plans prepared by municipalities and panchayats. Irregular constitution of state finance commissions, SFCs. Despite constitutional mandates, only 9 states have constituted the 6th SFC. This has resulted in delayed financial devolution to PRIs. Poor compliance in uploading Gram Panchayat Development Plans, GPDP, on eGram Swaraj portal. This has affected the release of 15th Finance Commission, FC grants to PRIs. Weak own source revenue, OSR generation. According to the RBI, the OSR of panchayats was only 1.1% of their total revenue. This has resulted in reduced financial autonomy. Importance of finance for PRI. Rural development. PRIs implement center and state schemes at the grassroots levels by identifying actual beneficiaries and aligning them to local needs. Agricultural development. PRIs support cooperative agricultural development. EGAMUL originated at the panchayat level, supports sustainable practices, e.g. social forestry, etc. Sustainable Development Goals, SDGs. PRIs help in achieving the 2030 targets by localization of SDGs. Health. PRIs contribute to health by maintaining and establishing health centers, clinics and dispensaries, training local health community workers, etc. According to the RBI, states where panchayats got high scores in health, nutrition and sanitation had lower rural. Infant mortality education. PRIs are responsible for constructing and maintaining educational institutions, encouraging enrollment, minimizing dropout rates, monitoring educational quality, etc. Women's empowerment. They enhance women's participation in governance by stipulating a 1/3 reservation for women. Studies show that when women are involved in local governance, policy areas such as education, health, and child welfare often improve, with a special focus on the needs of women. Initiatives to improve finances of PRIs. Audit online application launched by the Ministry of Panchayati Raj, MoPR, for carrying out online audits of Panchayat accounts. For own source revenue augmentation, Swamitva data is used for property tax assessment. Sharing of district mineral foundation funds with PRIs. Ranking system for PRIs. To decide eligibility criteria for performance grants. eGram Swaraj portal. All GPDPs of PRIs are uploaded for transparency and accountability. Recommendations given in the report: reallocation flexibility. Allow tied funds to be used for other than stipulated purposes to optimize fund use. Further timely and adequate untied funds through a formula-based mechanism based on objective criteria such as backwardness, area, etc. Continuity in case of election delays. Elections must be held in a timely way. However, in case of unavoidable delay, a clear mechanism should be established to ensure continuity. e.g. appointment of a nominated representative with clearly defined responsibilities. Regular constitution of SFCs. Engage states at the highest level to ensure timely SFC constitution and submission of reports with uniform and simple formats. Ensure timely GPDP uploads. Train Panchayat members for proper preparation and submission of GPDPs and align them with block district plans. Adequate devolution. Each state must prepare a time-bound roadmap for devolution of powers to PRIs. For example, administrative control over local functionaries such as health workers must be transferred to the Panchayats, or also the Ministry of Panchayati Raj, to prepare State of Devolution report, measuring progress on the 3 Fs in each state. Strengthen OSR generation, provide financial and technical support for revenue generation, devolve more powers to Panchayats, and incentivize high performers. 1.5. Interstate Water Dispute ISWD. Why in the news? The Ravi and Beas Waters Tribunal, formed in 1986, has got an extension of another year to resolve water sharing issues between Punjab, Haryana, and Rajasthan. More in the news. Also, Centre will constitute a high-level technical committee to examine concerns around the Polavaram-Banakacherla Link Project, PBLP, and other pending interstate water issues between Telangana and Andhra Pradesh. Additionally, Odisha and Chhattisgarh expressed willingness to resolve Mahanadi water dispute amicably. Interstate water dispute in India can be traced back to the British colonial period, with Cauvery water dispute between British-controlled Madras Presidency and princely state of Mysore. Reasons for ISWD: asymmetric access to river water resources, or geographical factors. When rivers flow across state boundaries, upper riparian states have advantageous access to river water. State reorganization. Post-independence, reorganization of boundaries of states have emphasized less on the river basin-based boundary distribution. Increasing demand, rapid population growth, agricultural expansion, urbanization, and economic development have significantly increased the demand for water. Development projects. Disputes often arise when one state develops major water resource projects like dams, for example Narmada, Cauvery River Basin disputes. Fragmented water governance approach, Union government, lack of structure for the governance of interstate water disputes. State government, divergent perspective and reductionist water management strategy. Unscientific approach, lack of integrated river basin-based management. Lack of proper data, non-uniformity in data collection of river water related to its flow, volume, etc. Legal and constitutional framework to resolve dispute. Article 262 provides for the adjudication of interstate water disputes. Parliament by law can provide for the adjudication of any interstate water dispute. Article 262(1) Parliament may also provide that neither Supreme Court nor any other court is to exercise jurisdiction in respect of any such dispute or complaint. Article 262(2) exercising its power under the Article 262 of the Constitution, Parliament has enacted 2 laws. The River Boards Act, 1956. This empowers Union government to establish river boards for the regulation of interstate rivers and river valleys in consultation with state governments. Interstate River Water Disputes Act, 1956. Union government can establish a tribunal for the adjudication of interstate river water dispute if requested by the state. 7th Schedule. O. Entry 56 of the Union List, Regulation and Development of Interstate Rivers. O. Entry 17 of the State List, Water. That is to say, water supplies, irrigation and canals, drainage and embankments, water storage and water power subject to the provisions of Entry 56 of List 1. Challenges in resolving ISWD delays. Extreme delays are a major issue occurring in three main areas. O. Constituting tribunals, for example, Cauvery Tribunal formed in 1990 after decades of pending requests. O. Tribunal award. Delivery, for example, Narmada, 9 years, Krishna, 4 years, Godavari, 10 years. O. Award notification and enforcement. Delays in publishing tribunal orders in the official gazette, for example, Krishna. 3 years, Godavari 1 year, lead to uncertainty in enforcement. ISRWD Act 1956 specifies that a tribunal's decision, once published in the official gazette, shall have the same force as an order or decree of the Supreme Court. Politicization. Water disputes are frequently dealt with more politically than scientifically, disregarding environmental, social, and cultural aspects. Lack of stakeholder participation. Traditional approaches often ignore the interests and concerns of state, governments, local communities, indigenous populations, and other stakeholders. Intervention of Supreme Court. States taking the issues to Supreme Court results in making the award of tribunals practically ineffective. While the Supreme Court cannot adjudicate the original dispute, it can interpret the decisions of a tribunal and may direct parties back to the tribunal for further clarification if needed. For example, the Cauvery water disputes. Tribunal has submitted its reports and decision in 2007. Further, the party states have filed SLPs in the Supreme Court against Cauvery Tribunal's report. Consequently, Supreme Court gave a final verdict on this dispute on water distribution, including a slight change in water allocation. Other measures taken to resolve ISWD, Interstate River Water Disputes Amendment Bill 2019-0, Disputes Resolution Committee to resolve interstate disputes amicably. Establishment of single interstate river water disputes, tribunal with multiple benches. Strict timeline for completion of award. Data bank at the central level for each river basin. Draft River Basin Management Bill 2018. Objective. The bill proposes principled approach of participation, cooperation, equitable and sustainable use of water, integrated river basin management, etc. Creating river basin. Master plan. Establishment of river basin authority. National river linking project. It aims to transfer water from surplus region to deficit region, potentially reducing interstate water disputes. Way forward. Cooperative federalism. Union government should play the role of facilitator and mediator to reach mutually acceptable solution among states. Creation of forum for dialogue and discussion on ISWDs under the NITI Aayog. Policy intervention. Bringing the ISWDs under the Interstate Council. Article 263, Amendment in Interstate River Water. Disputes Act 1956 to make the functioning of tribunals more effective. ISWD Amendment Bill and River Basin Management Bill 2018. These proposed laws should be put on for consultation to expedite dispute resolution and address delays in the existing tribunal system. Databank and Information System. A national-level databank and information system for river basins is recommended to support informed decision-making or use AI to collect river basin data, flow management, and end use of river water. Stakeholder engagement. Community participation in planning and management of water resources. 1.6. Cost of politics in India. Why in the news?
Next.
Observer Research Foundation, ORF, supported by the Westminster Foundation for Democracy, WFD, conducted a case study on India's cost of politics, focusing on spending by candidates contesting political office. Major findings of the study. Escalating campaign costs. Major party Lok Sabha candidates spend Rs 510 crore, higher in competitive or wealthy states, TN, Telangana, AP, Maharashtra. rising routine political expenditure. It includes attending community events, supporting constituents, sustaining party activities, etc. Social media spending requires funds for tech experts, influencers, profile upkeep, and ads, but is still cheaper than rallies, transport, food, and worker payments. Increasing vote buying. Cash handouts before polls have surged. Even unwilling candidates feel pressured to join in. Drivers of cost of politics. Pre-election outreach, campaign logistics, media expenses, election patronage, rewards for supporters, network upkeep. Source of funds. Primary sources, personal wealth, contributions from family, friends, peers, supporters. Other sources, borrowing from friends' business groups, crowdfunding, selling assets, loans. Most parties expect candidates to self-fund, barring a few major ones. It favors wealthy, dynastic candidates and disadvantages marginalized groups. Implications of high costs of elections. Implications for governance or growing business politics. Nexus. High corporate funding can skew policies toward financiers' interests. For example, tax cuts, deregulation, that widens social inequality. Wealthy mining, coal, and real estate barons now contest directly, using money to secure party nominations or run as independents, a fundraising focus. Elected leaders prioritize raising funds, recovering campaign costs, and repaying financiers over legislative duties. Corruption risks. Black money in campaigns fosters electoral corruption. India ranked 96 in Transparency International's 2024 Corruption Perceptions Index. Impact on democratic integrity or erosion of public trust. Lack of transparency reduces voter faith, discouraging participation in democracy. Power capture. Big parties dominate funding, enabling large-scale vote buying and cross-media campaigns. Smaller regional parties lack resources, limiting voter choice and political competition. Barrier for underprivileged. High costs deter women, youth, and non-elite candidates from contesting. Way forward. Enforce spending limits. Strengthen ECI oversight, resources, and judicial support to act against violators. For instance, UK enforces strict expenditure caps and audits at all political levels. Constitutional status for parties. Bring political parties under formal regulatory and institutional scrutiny. State funding based on vote share to reduce corporate influence. Empower smaller parties. Canada-Germany models. State funding was also supported by Indrajit Gupta Committee on State Funding of Elections, 1998. Law Commission, Report on Reform of the Electoral Laws, 1999. National Commission to Review the Working of the Constitution, 2001. Second Administrative Reforms Commission, 2008. Voter sensitization. Prioritize awareness campaigns via civil society, media, and ECI to curb money power in elections. Real-time donation disclosure to boost transparency, US model. Conclusion. Thus, election campaign financing in India is marked by high costs, resource concentration, and use of black money, threatening democracy, governance, and equality. Urgent reforms in election financing are needed to protect democracy, including stricter corporate donation laws. 1.7. Lowering of age for voting. Why in the news? Globally, several countries, including Germany, Austria, Malta, Estonia, Argentina, Nicaragua, have lowered their voting age from 18 to 16 years. More in the news. Recently, United Kingdom also announced plans to reduce the voting age from 18 to 16. In India, a Constitution Amendment Bill 2020 was proposed to amend Article 326 to reduce the voting age from 18 to 17 years. It was a private member's bill. Constitutional provisions related to voting age in India. Article 326 provides for universal adult suffrage for every citizen who is not less than 18 years of age. India reduced the voting age from 21 to 18 years through 61st Constitutional Amendment in 1988. Right to vote is a statutory right that can be amended by ordinary law of the Parliament. Arguments in favor of lowering of age for voting. Arguments in against of lowering of age for voting. Cognitive maturity. A significant number of experts contend that 16-year-olds possess sufficient cognitive and critical thinking capacities, independent political decisions. Intergenerational equity. While those under 18 are currently excluded in most countries, adults are allowed to vote without maximum age limits. This creates an inherent bias, that is, political systems that favor an older electorate and act against forward-looking policymaking. Broaden election manifestos. Lowering the voting age would also broaden the election manifestos with a greater focus on child rights, quality education, and gender justice. Increased political engagement and representation. Lowering increased political engagement among youth. Fostering a habit of voting early in life and strengthening democracy. The voting age could. 4. Perceived lack of maturity and knowledge. Critics argue adolescents often lack cognitive information or political ability, adequate engagement, making to prone manipulation in political decision-making. Them, low turnout. In 2024 Lok Sabha elections, under 40% of 18-19-year-olds registered to vote, inconsistency with other age thresholds. Lowering the voting age may spark debates on reducing other legal age limits for marriage, alcohol purchase, military service, or elections. Logistical and administrative challenges. Expanding the electorate to include 16-17-year-olds would require large-scale voter registration drives, awareness campaigns, and infrastructure adjustments, increasing costs and operational complexity. Conclusion. In moving forward with the debate on lowering the voting age, it is essential that advocacy efforts are grounded in evidence and involve adolescents in the process. Early and comprehensive civic education in schools, along with ongoing registration efforts, can enhance political engagement and ensure broader participation among young and transient populations. 1.8. News in Shorts. 1.8.1. Disruption of Parliament. In the 17th Lok Sabha session, Lok Sabha functioned for 88% of its scheduled time, while Rajya Sabha worked for 73%. In the 1950s, the Indian Parliament met for 140 days every year. Now the number ranges between 60 to 70 days. Issues with parliamentary disruptions. Weakening democratic accountability. Parliamentary debates let elected leaders question the government, but disruptions hinder this key part of democracy. Monetary cost. The cost of running Parliament is around Rs 2.5 lakh per minute. Eroding public trust in Parliament. Frequent disruptions shift MPs' focus from solving important issues to stalling proceedings. Measures that can be adopted to address Parliament disruption, ensuring dedicated time for opposition. For example, the British Parliament sets aside 20 days each year for the opposition to decide the agenda. Strengthen ethics committees to monitor and report disruptions, ensuring accountability. Annual parliamentary calendar. Calendar of sittings should be announced at the beginning of each year for limited flexibility. 1.8.2. Removal of judges in higher judiciary. Member of Parliaments across party lines submit motion in Parliament to remove Justice Yashwant Verma. A total of 145 Lok Sabha members have signed a motion against Justice Verma under Articles 124, 217, and 218 of the Constitution. Also, the Rajya Sabha chairman received a motion for the removal signed by more than 50 members of Rajya Sabha. Constitutional provisions regarding removal of judges. Article 124(4). It deals with removal of judges of the Supreme Court. O grounds for removal, proven misbehavior, and incapacity. Article 124(5). It deals with the power of Parliament to regulate the procedure for the presentation of an address and for the investigation and proof of the misbehavior or incapacity of a judge under Clause 4. O procedure is regulated by Judges Inquiry Act, 1968, enacted under Article 124(5). Article 217, 1(b). It deals with removal of a judge of a high court. O. It states that a high court judge may be removed from his office by the President in the manner provided in Clause 4 of Article 124, for the removal of a judge of the Supreme Court. Article 218. It extends the applicability of Clause 4 and Clause 5 of Article 124 to High Courts. Steps in removal process. Initiation. A removal motion signed by 100 members. Lok Sabha or 50 members. Rajya Sabha is given to the Speaker Chairman. Committee formation and investigation. If admitted, a 3-member committee constituted to investigate the charges. The 3-member committee comprises a Supreme Court judge, Chief Justice of a High Court, and a distinguished jurist. If the committee finds the judge guilty of misbehavior or incapacity, the House considers the motion. Parliamentary approval. The originating House passes the motion with special majority, then sends it to the second House, which must also pass it with special majority. Majority of the total membership of that House, and by a majority of not less than 2/3 of the members of the House present and voting. Presidential order. After passage, an address is presented to the President for removal. It has to be presented to the President in the same session. The President then issues the removal order. Note, there is no mention of a word impeachment for removal of judges in the Constitution. 1. 8.3. National Standards for Civil Service Training Institutes, NSC-SSTI. Recently, NSC-STI 2.0 framework was launched by the Minister of State for Personnel, Public Grievances and Pensions about national standards for civil service training institutes developed by Capacity Building Commission, CBC, under Mission Karmayogi. Mission Karmayogi aims to create a competent and future-ready civil service working towards effective public service delivery and an Atmanirbhar Bharat. The primary objectives of NSC-STI are to establish a baseline of capacities within central training institutes, provide a structured tool to enhance the management of these institutes, and standardize capacity building by setting for civil clear procedure service training institutes. The NSC-STI 2.0 framework introduces O-hybrid, an AI-driven OO learning models, incorporates an inclusive design suitable for all levels of government training institutes, and fosters the adoption of best practices by removing barriers between the public and private sectors. 1. 8.4. Bills of Lading Bill 2025. Parliament has passed the Bills of Lading Bill 2025.
Everything is important.
About Bills of Lading Bill 2025. A bill of lading refers to a document issued by a freight carrier to a shipper. It aims to update and simplify the legal framework for shipping documents. It will replace the Indian Bills of Lading Act 1856. It contains details including the type, quantity, condition, and destination of goods being carried. 2. International Relations 2.1. India-United Kingdom, UK, Comprehensive Economic and Trade Agreement, CETA. Why in the news? India and the UK signed the Comprehensive Economic and Trade.
Okay. So now, this is a lading bill. So lading bill क्या होता है? So lading bill is basically referring to a document issued by the freight carrier to a shipper. It contains details including type, quantity, condition, and destiny of goods being carried. So basically, जो naval shipments होते हैं, उस समय इस बिल के लिए ये बिल उसमें importance रखता है. ठीक है? It will replace the Indian Bills of Lading Act 1856. So it's a prelims fact. आ सकता है. ठीक है? Now this is important. ये बहुत टाइम से चल रहा है. कैपेसिटी बिल्डिंग कमीशन 2021 में स्टैब्लिश हुआ था. और इसका मेन पर्पज़ क्या है? इसका मेन पर्पज़ है credibility and uniform approach for capacity building on a collaborative and co-sharing basis for civil services. ठीक है? और इसका की फंक्शन क्या होगा? एनुअल स्टेट ऑफ सिविल सर्विसेज रिपोर्ट प्रिपेयर करेगा. ठीक है? एक्सरसाइज फंक्शनल सुपरविजन ऑफ ट्रेनिंग इंस्टीट्यूशन, फंक्शनल सुपरविजन ऑफ ट्रेनिंग इंस्टीट्यूशन प्रिपेयर करेगा. एनुअल स्टेट ऑफ सिविल सर्विसेज एक रिपोर्ट प्रिपेयर करेगा. देन क्रिएशन ऑफ एनुअल कैपेसिटी बिल्डिंग प्लान्स एंड फॉर मिनिस्ट्रीज एंड डिपार्टमेंट, evolving a harmonious de-siloed approach to capacity building initiative, recommending policy intervention areas of personal HR. So basically इसका मैनेजमेंट का काम है. ठीक है? और 2021 में लॉन्च हुआ था, तब से ये हर मैगजीन में आता है विजन की. ठीक है? मूविंग फॉरवर्ड, चलो we'll move to international relations now. Okay, so let's continue.
Agreement, CETA, marking a major milestone in their partnership. More in the news. Major developments apart from CETA. India-UK Vision 2035 was adopted to guide cooperation for the next decade in the economy, technology, defense, climate, health, and education. Defense Industrial Roadmap adopted for co-design, co-development, and co-production of defense products. Key highlights of the Comprehensive Economic and Trade Agreement: comprehensive tariff elimination and market access. Tariff elimination. Over 99% of tariff lines will be eliminated, covering almost India's entire trade basket. Meanwhile, India has opened 89.5% of its tariff lines, covering 91% of UK exports. Sensitive sector safeguards. India has safeguarded sensitive sectors like dairy, cereal, millets, gold, jewelry, lab-grown diamonds, etc. Bilateral safeguards. Measures to control sudden import surges that could hurt domestic industries. Services. Deep market access. Wider entry for Indian IT, finance, education, and healthcare services. Comprehensive commitments. India has secured wide-ranging commitments from the UK covering all 12 major service sectors. Mutual recognition and professional mobility. Mutual recognition agreement. Both countries will recognize professional qualifications in areas like nursing, accountancy, and architecture within a year, easing mobility and reducing barriers. Temporary entry for professionals. UK allows Indian business visitors, intra-corporate transferees, service suppliers, independent professionals, and investors to stay from 90 days to 3 years with possible extensions. Double Contribution Convention, DCC. It exempts Indian workers and their employers from Social Security contributions in the UK for up to 3 years when on temporary assignments. Simplified rules of origin. Exporters can self-certify product origin. Small consignments under £1,000 need no documents, and product-specific rules of origin, PSRs, align with India's current supply chains for key sectors such as textiles, machinery, pharmaceuticals, and processed food. Significance of CETA for India. Export growth, expected 40% rise in exports in key sectors such as textiles, jewelry, machinery, etc. Geographical indication protection. Protection for Indian geographical indication, GI products like Fini, toddy, and Nashik wine. Market access. The agreement opens the UK's $37.5 billion agricultural import market to Indian producers, with over 95% of agricultural and processed food items gaining duty-free access. Worker benefits. CETA upholds labour rights, ensuring awareness, access to fair tribunals, and transparent enforcement. Women workers will gain from provisions on non-discrimination and gender equality in the workplace. MSME and regional growth. Trade boost will benefit key hubs like Tirupur, textiles, Kolkata, leather, and Surat Baruch, chemicals. Significance of India-UK relations. Economic cooperation. Bilateral trade stands at USD 56 billion, with the goal of doubling it by 2030. Investment. The UK is the 6th largest inward investor in India, with a cumulative equity investment of US 35 billion till September 2024. Geopolitical. Cooperation in multilateral forums such as the UN, UNSC, G20, Commonwealth, and the Indo-Pacific enhances mutual interests. The UK supports India's bid for a permanent seat in the UN Security Council. Defense cooperation. India and the UK hold regular military exercises, including Konkan, Naval, Cobra Warrior, Air, and Ajaya Warrior, Army. Indian diaspora. The UK has a large Indian diaspora of 1.864 million as per the 2021 UK census. Education cooperation. Several UK universities plan to open campuses in India, with the University of Southampton's Gurugram campus being the first under the new education policy. Around 170,000 Indian students are currently studying in the UK. Health cooperation, e.g., the joint research and development of the COVID-19 vaccine, under a licensing agreement between UK-based AstraZeneca and Serum Institute of India. India-UK Framework Agreement for Collaboration on Healthcare Workforce supports recruitment and training of nurses, allied health professionals, etc. Concerns in India-UK relations. Divergent foreign policy positions. For example, their stances on the Russia-Ukraine conflict are different. UK's domestic politics, UK political debates over Kashmir, and comments on India's internal matters have occasionally created friction, influencing diaspora relations. Khalistan separatism. India is concerned over the activities of pro-Khalistan elements in the UK, which it sees as a threat to its sovereignty. Extradition hurdles. Despite an extradition treaty, legal delays keep high-profile fugitives like Vijay Mallya in the UK, straining bilateral trust. Conclusion. The CETA, anchored within the India-UK Vision 2035, marks a pivotal milestone in bilateral ties, expanding cooperation in trade, technology, defense, climate, and education. With the UK's global influence as a P5, G7, and Five Eyes member, and India's position as the fastest growing major economy, both nations stand at a strategic inflection point. By leveraging synergies in a volatile global order and advancing joint initiatives under Vision 2035, India and the UK are poised to elevate their partnership to unprecedented levels while addressing long-standing challenges. 2.2. India-Maldives relations. Why in the news? Recently, Indian Prime Minister paid an official visit to Maldives, marking 60 years of diplomatic ties. Key outcomes of the visits: extension of line of credit, LOC of INR, 4,850 crores to Maldives, and reduction of annual debt repayment obligations of Maldives on Government of India-funded LOCs. Launch of India-Maldives Free Trade Agreement IMFTA negotiations and mutual agreement on its terms of reference. Agreement between NPCI International Payment Limited and Maldives Monetary Authority for launching UPI in Maldives. Various MOUs and agreements in field of fisheries, aquaculture, digital solution and recognition of Indian pharmacopoeia were also signed. Areas of cooperation. India and Maldives share ethnic, linguistic, cultural, religious and commercial links. India was among the first to recognize Maldives after its independence in 1965 and to establish diplomatic relations with the country. Strategic location and proximity. Maldives is geographically positioned like a toll gate between the Western Indian Ocean, Gulf of Aden and Strait of Hormuz, and Eastern Indian Ocean, Strait of Malacca. Maldives' proximity to India's west coast and its location at the hub of key Indian Ocean sea lanes give it significant strategic importance for India. Net security provider. India is seen as a net security provider to the Maldives. It has been affirmed as Maldives holds a special place in India's Neighborhood First policy, contributing to India's Vision Mahasagar, mutual and holistic advancement for security and growth across regions, for the Indian Ocean region, IOR. Defense cooperation and security. A comprehensive action plan for defense, 2016, has been signed to consolidate defense partnership. Joint exercises include Ekuvarin, Ekatha, etc. Maldives has also joined Colombo Security Conclave as a founding member. Economic integration. Bilateral trade crossed USD 548.97 million 2023, with India emerging as Maldives' largest trading partner in 2023. Humanitarian diplomacy and first responder during crises. India has consistently been the first responder to Maldives during times of distress. Includes prompt assistance during coup attempt, 1988, tsunami, 2004, male water crisis, 2014, COVID-19 pandemic, etc. Extensive P2P linkages. India has become a top tourist market for Maldives, with over 2.09 lakh Indian tourist arrivals in 2023. Recent irritants in the bilateral relations. Domestic politics of Maldives. Maldives' internal political environment is largely polarized to anti or pro-India or China. Strategic realignment under President Muizu. Elected on a nationalist mandate of India Out campaign, it fueled anti-India public sentiments. It led to cancellation of hydrographical surveys, withdrawal of Indian military personnel, etc. Maldives changed its policy from India First policy to a Maldives First policy, which aimed to diversify the Maldives foreign policy. China factor. Maldives joined China's Belt and Road Initiative, BRI, in 2014. and China has made several large infrastructure investments, e.g., China-Maldives
Belt and Road
Friendship
Initiative
Bridge,
इसने भी join किया.
economic instability,
Okay.
with high fiscal deficits and moderation in GDP growth. Public debt of Maldives is projected to rise to 135.7% of GDP in 2027. World Bank. Radicalization. USA in 2023 designated financial facilitators and operatives of ISIS and Al-Qaeda in the Maldives. Conclusion. India and Maldives share common challenges in the Indian Ocean region, which have multidimensional implications for the security and development of both the countries. As natural partners, both must work together in advancing the maritime and security cooperation for the benefit of peoples of both India and Maldives, as well as for the larger Indian Ocean region. 2.3 China's hydropower project on the Brahmaputra River.
Important.
Why in the news? China started construction of its Medog mega dam project on the Yarlung Zangbo, Brahmaputra in India, river in Tibet. More on the news. Beyond power generation, the project supports Beijing's goal of industrializing Tibet. China presents the Medog Motuo Dam project as both a renewable energy initiative and an economic boost for Tibet, supporting its goal of carbon neutrality by 2060. About the Medog hydropower project. Scale and capacity. Once completed, it will surpass the Three Gorges Dam as the world's largest, potentially generating 3 times more energy. Location. Situated at the Great Bend of the Yarlung Tsangpo River in Tibet, near the Arunachal Pradesh border. Project design. Marketed as a run-of-the-river project, it will feature 5 cascade hydropower reservoir-like plants, structures, diverting up to half of the river's flow. Key concerns of the project. Geopolitical concerns.
Run-of-the-river project.
Disruption. Concerns. Disruption in water flow will affect agriculture, food security, and hydro projects in northeast India, e.g. Siang River disaster 2000. Security risks, seen as a potential water bomb in times of tension. Water resource competition. The Brahmaputra basin faces India-China-Bangladesh competition driven by dams and diversion plans, posing risks to human security and regional stability. Environmental impact. Disruption of sediment flow vital for the Ganges-Brahmaputra delta. Threat to 218 fish species including Hilsa and Masia, jeopardizing 2 million livelihoods. Disaster vulnerability. Located in seismic zone 5, prone to earthquakes and landslides. A 7.5 magnitude quake in Tibet in December 2024 underscored the risk of catastrophic dam failure. Existing river water cooperation mechanism between India and China. Expert level mechanism, 2006. Annual dialogue on flood season data, emergency protocols and trans-border river issues. Hydrological data sharing on Brahmaputra. MOU covers June to October data from 3 Tibetan stations. Expired in June 2023 and renewal is under discussion. Hydrological data sharing on Sutlej. MOU covers June to October data from Tibetan station. Expired in 2020 and renewal is pending. Umbrella MOU 2013. Expanded Brahmaputra and Sutlej data period to the 15th of May to the 15th of October and provides a broader framework for water cooperation. Way forward. India's potential response. Strategic countermeasures. India plans the Siang Upper Multipurpose Project in Arunachal Pradesh as a hydropower response to China's upstream advantage on the Brahmaputra. Niti Aayog proposed a multipurpose project in the Siang region in 2017. Transparency demands seek full disclosure of technical details, environmental studies, and seismic safety, plans, and press for suspension until these are addressed. Regional coalition. Unite downstream nations to demand legally binding water sharing accords under the 1997 UN Water Convention with hydrological data sharing, joint environmental assessments, etc. Transboundary cooperation. Push for mechanisms similar to China's agreements with Kazakhstan on shared rivers to safeguard India's co-riparian rights. Water security framework. Explore a South Asia. Water NATO for Brahmaputra, Indus and Ganges states, modeled on collective security to ensure data transparency, dispute resolution, disaster readiness, etc. Best practices and lessons from the Nile Basin Initiative and the Mekong River Commission can be adopted. Conclusion. The Yarlung Tsangpo project underscores the need for urgent, cooperative water governance. Without transparency and equitable sharing through mechanisms like a Middle Riparian Coalition or a South Asia Water NATO, it risks triggering ecological damage, economic loss, and regional instability. 2.4. India-Africa relations. Why in the news? Prime Minister of India completed his recent visit to African nations of Ghana and Namibia, and he reiterated that Africa's goals are India's priority. More on the news. Prime Minister also addressed a special session of the Parliament of Ghana and was conferred the national honour of Ghana Officer of the Order of the Star of Ghana by the President of Ghana. He also welcomed the establishment of the Ghana-India Parliamentary Friendship Society, which indicates a commitment to fostering closer ties at the legislative level. Both sides also agreed to elevate ties to a comprehensive partnership. India's Africa policy builds on old ties and focuses on present needs. It follows a consultative, demand-driven approach, working as equal partners under the Kampala Principles, refer infographic, highlighted by the Prime Minister of India in 2018. Strategic significance of Africa for India, strategic and geopolitical. Africa is natural partner of India in voicing the concerns of Global South, advocating for reforms in multilateral institutions like UN and WTO, and promoting peace and security. OEG, African Union's AU G20 membership, representing Voice of Global South, and Asia-Africa Growth Corridor, AAGC. AGC was established in 2017 by India and Japan to foster sustainable and inclusive development in Africa through enhanced connectivity and cooperation between Asia and Africa. Defense. India and African countries are increasing their engagement through regional organizations like Indian Ocean Rim Association IORA, and Indian Ocean Commission IOC, and partaking in multinational maritime exercises like Milan and Cutlass Express. Indian Navy recently launched a large-scale multilateral maritime engagement exercise with African countries titled as Africa-India Key Maritime Engagement, AIKME. Economic. Africa offers a young, rapidly urbanizing market in critical minerals, cobalt, manganese, rare earths, vital for India's manufacturing and green transition. Africa accounts for 48.1% of cobalt and 47.7% of manganese. India is Africa's third largest trading partner after EU and China. Trade basket mainly includes mineral fuels, food products, pharmaceuticals, and so on from the Indian side, and crude oil, diamonds, copper, etc. from the African side to India. Market access. India is the first developing country to provide non-reciprocal duty-free market access to least developed countries, LDCs, through its duty-free tariff preference, DFTP scheme. India's soft power diplomacy, Indian technical and economic cooperation, and Indian Council for Cultural Relations, ICCR scholarships, along with the Vidya Bharati, Arogya Bharati, EVBA, teleeducation/telemedicine network, a signature capacity building platform spanning dozens of African countries. Technology. Digital connectivity is emerging as a new pillar with sharing of India stack technologies with the African nations, such as the launch of UPI/RuPay in Mauritius. Energy security. Africa has significant potential in renewable energy with 10 TW of solar capacity, 100 gigawatts of wind capacity, and 15 gigawatts of geothermal energy. International Solar Alliance, co-founded by India, targets mini-grids and distributed solar in Africa through pilot projects and financing mechanisms. For example, Global Solar Facility, Star-C Initiative, Virtual Green Hydrogen Innovation Center, etc. Concerns in India. Africa relations. Delays in project execution and delivery. Multiple India-funded infrastructure and capacity-building projects have faced delays due to procedural bottlenecks, funding disbursement issues, and logistical challenges in remote African regions. Underrepresentation in global governance. African nations continue to lack permanent representation in the UN Security Council and other global decision-making forums. Strategic competition from other partners. India's focus on capacity building and concessional LOCs, while appreciated, sometimes struggles to match the speed, scale, and deep pockets of China. Security and political instability. Political unrest, conflict and terrorism in parts of Africa, especially the Sahel and Horn of Africa, raises safety concerns for Indian workers and investments. Conclusion. Traditionally, the African continent has played a central role in India's foreign policy, with India having important stakes in the Africa. By focusing on capacity building, local ownership and partnership, and increasing goodwill via moral diplomacy, India hopes to create a long-term, sustainable, post-colonial model of South-South cooperation with less dependency and more dependability. 2.5. India, Latin American and Caribbean countries ties. Why in the news? The Prime Ministers recently visited Trinidad and Tobago, Argentina and Brazil, and participation in the 17th BRICS Summit in Rio de Janeiro. More on the news. Highest civilian honors. The Prime Minister was conferred Order of the Republic of Trinidad Tobago. Trinidad Tobago, India announced the extension of OCI card to the 6th generation diaspora. Significance of Latin America and Caribbean, LAC, India relations, strategic. Defense cooperation. India and Brazil have deepened defense cooperation with Joint Defense Committee, meetings, and established a 2+2 political-military dialogue. Critical minerals security. Kabul signed an agreement with Camien to acquire 5 lithium blocks in Argentina, marking the first lithium exploration and mining project by an Indian state-owned company. Chile, Argentina, and Bolivia, called the Lithium Triangle, hold over 75% of global reserves. Food security. Latin America has become a key supplier of food commodities to India, such as edible oils and pulses. Argentina is one of the primary suppliers of edible oils, especially soybean oil, to India. Economic trade relations. Trade and investments. Total trade with the region reached USD 35.73 billion in 2023 to 24. Invested investments. Indian companies have USD 12 billion in the past 15 years in IT, pharmaceuticals, energy, mining, manufacturing, and agrochemicals. India has a preferential trade agreement with Mercosur. Energy security. Crude oil imports from Venezuela, Mexico, and Brazil accounted for 30% of India's total import from the region. Climate change and renewable energy, India extended a US dollar 140 million line of credit to CARICOM for solar, renewable energy, and climate change-related projects. CARICOM is a regional organization to promote economic integration and cooperation in the Caribbean region. India is partnering with Brazil to promote biofuel research and production through the BioFuture platform. Cooperation at regional and multilateral fora. Significant cooperation in groups like G20 with Argentina and Brazil, and groups like BRICS, IPSA, and G4 with Brazil. Regional groupings. India has an active participation in meetings with Community of Latin American and Caribbean States, CELAC, CARICOM, and Central American Integration System, SICA. About Mercosur. Overview. It is a southern common market, Mercosur for its Spanish initials, in Latin America. Genesis. Formed in 1991 with the objective of free movement of goods, services, capital, and people. State parties: Argentina, Bolivia, Brazil, Paraguay, Uruguay. Venezuela is currently suspended. Associate members: Chile, Colombia, Ecuador, Guyana, Panama, Peru, Suriname. Headquarter: Montevideo, Uruguay. Challenges: China factor. China has established robust ties with Latin America, and trade has registered a 35-fold increase since 2000. Regional integration weaknesses. Mercosur faces internal divisions. For example, Brazil and Uruguay seeking bilateral deals, Argentina's threat to leave. High transport costs. Physical distance is a perceived reason for limited engagement, as direct air and shipping links are considered uneconomical. Last frontier in foreign policy. Latin America is often relegated to the far end of the 3 concentric circles that drive India's foreign policy, signifying its deprioritization. Others: language disadvantage, lack of influential diaspora, etc. Way forward: prioritize political engagement, institutionalize high-level dialogues, and integrate Latin America into foreign policy priorities. strengthen economic linkages, reduce tariffs, streamline regulations, and pursue free trade agreements to enhance reciprocal investment, enhance connectivity, establish direct shipping routes, air links, and air freight corridors to lower costs and improve trade flow, expand technological collaboration, leverage Latin America's resources and India's technology strengths in renewable energy, agriculture, IT, and climate resilience. Mobilize the private sector. Encourage cross-investments through trade missions, networking platforms, and investment incentives. Conclusion: India can transform its ties with Latin America by pursuing a proactive, multi-pronged strategy that deepens trade, investment, and cultural links while addressing logistical hurdles. Leveraging democratic values, it can build a durable partnership that advances shared development goals and strengthens both regions' positions in the evolving global order. 5.1 India-Brazil. Why in the news? Indian PM was conferred with Brazil's highest civilian award, the Grand Collar of the National Order of the Southern Cross. Key agreements signed during visit: agreement on cooperation in combating international terrorism and transnational organized crime, memorandum on the exchange of large-scale digital solutions to support digital transformation, exchange and mutual protection of classified information, MOU on renewable energy, agricultural research and intellectual property establishment of a ministerial-level mechanism to monitor trade, commerce, and investment. Priority pillars for the next decade: defense and security, food and nutritional security, energy transition and climate change, etc. 2.6 BRICS Rio de Janeiro Declaration. Why in the news? At the 17th BRICS Summit, BRICS leaders signed the Rio de Janeiro Declaration entitled Strengthening Global South Cooperation for More Inclusive and Sustainable Governance. Key highlights of the BRICS Summit. Participation. First summit to bring together 11 full member states and 10 partner countries, along with 8 invited nations and numerous representatives from international organizations. Welcomed Indonesia as a BRICS member, as well as Belarus, Bolivia, Kazakhstan, Cuba, Nigeria, Malaysia, Thailand, Vietnam, Uganda, and Uzbekistan as BRICS partner countries. Launch of the Partnership for Elimination of Socially Determined Diseases, SDDs, to strengthen cooperation, mobilize resources, and advance collective efforts to eliminate SDDs in an integrated manner, particularly in the Global South. SDDs are closely and BRICS Leaders Framework Declaration on Climate Finance. It charts a roadmap for the next 5 years to transform BRICS' capacity to raise resources for fighting climate change. BRICS Leaders Declaration on Global IT Principles on Digital, Governance of AI, Sovereignty, UN-anchored multilateralism, responsible development, fair competition, equitable data governance, open resource-efficient foundational models, environmental sustainability, and trustworthy ethical AI. BRICS Leaders Framework Declaration on Climate Finance. Climate Finance Goal. It calls upon developed countries to achieve the finance goal of USD 300 billion per year by 2035 for developing countries, while also fulfilling their prior goal of mobilizing jointly USD 100 billion per year through 2025. Innovative financial instruments. It supports innovative financial instruments such as blended finance, guarantees, insurance coverage, relevant thematic bonds, foreign exchange risk mitigation, as well as regulatory frameworks, policy initiatives, and incentives. Tropical Forest Forever Fund, TFF. It recognized the TFFF as an innovative mechanism to mobilize long-term financing for tropical forest conservation, encouraging ambitious donations from potential partners. Launched at COP28 in the UAE, the fund aims at providing large-scale, predictable, and performance-based payments to countries with tropical forests with the objective of preserving and expanding forest cover. It combines public investment with private capital mobilization, aiming to generate approximately USD 4 billion annually. Payments will be allocated proportionally to each country's preserved area of tropical and, subtropical moist forest. BRICS and Global South Cooperation. Rio de Janeiro Declaration underscores BRICS' collective resolve to champion the interests of the Global South. Strengthen Global Governance Declaration called for the increased participation of developing countries in global decision-making processes and structures. O. It calls for transparent, inclusive selection of UN executive heads with equitable geographical and gender representation. O. Declaration calls for a comprehensive reform of the United Nations, including its Security Council, with support for the aspirations of Brazil and India to play a greater role. Multipolarity and role of Global South. Declaration emphasizes the importance of the Global South as a driver of positive change, especially amid significant challenges, including escalating geopolitical tensions, economic slowdown, accelerated technological transformation, protectionist measures, etc. Reform of Bretton Woods institutions, BWIs. It urges reforms in their governance structures, calls for merit-based, inclusive selection procedures and increasing diversity. Trading system. Raise concerns about the rise of unilateral tariff and non-tariff measures and reiterate support for the rules-based, open, transparent, fair, inclusive, equitable, non-discriminatory, consensus-based multilateral trading system with the World Trade Organization, WTO, at its core. International economic cooperation. Declaration stresses conclusion of a strategy for BRICS Economic Partnership 2030 and launches discussions on a BRICS Multilateral Guarantees (BMG) pilot within the NDB de-risk investment. Conclusion. By addressing pressing global challenges from climate change to digital governance, the Rio Declaration underscores BRICS' commitment to building a multipolar world order rooted in equity, cooperation, and shared prosperity. This makes BRICS not just a grouping of economies, but a platform shaping the future of global governance. To read more about BRICS, refer to Article 2.5, BRICS in October 2024, Monthly Current Affairs Magazine. 2.7, Geelong Treaty under AUKUS, why in the news? Recently, Australia and United Kingdom, UK, signed a bilateral defence cooperation agreement, also known as Geelong Treaty, under AUKUS Pillar 1 for the next 50 years. About Geelong Treaty, also known as Nuclear-Powered Submarine Partnership and Collaboration Treaty, it aims to support stability and security in the Euro-Atlantic and the Indo-Pacific. Objective: enable comprehensive cooperation on the design, build, operation, sustainment, and disposal of AUKUS submarines, and enable development of resilient trilateral supply chains. It is in line with international nuclear non-proliferation obligations and trilateral AUKUS Naval Nuclear Propulsion Agreement, ANPA. About AUKUS. Established in 2021, it is a security partnership between Australia, the UK, and the US. It has two pillars. Pillar 1 focuses on developing shipbuilding capacities of the three nations, which includes Australia's acquisition of its first SSNs, nuclear-powered attack submarines. Pillar 2 focuses on joint development of 8 advanced military capability areas such as autonomy, artificial intelligence, AI, electromagnetic warfare, modeling, and simulation. The partnership would see the US sell submarines to Australia, starting in the 2030s, and the UK jointly produce new submarines with Australia that would enter into service in the early 2040s. Strategic significance of AUKUS. Strengthens US-led alliance system in Indo-Pacific. It is crucial to counter China's growing influence in the EE region, and also signals US commitment to defend its allies and interests in the region. Enhances US access and presence in the region. It becomes true especially in Southeast Asia, where the US has sought to expand its military footprint. Boosts to US defense industry. It creates new opportunities for arms sales and technology transfers to Australia and the UK. Opportunities and challenges of AUKUS. Opportunities of AUKUS. Concerns with respect to AUKUS. High chances of success. AUKUS nations exhibit high levels of trust among themselves, e.g. intelligence sharing through Five Eyes Alliance. USA Review. USA has launched a review of AUKUS Trilateral Security Pact. Moreover, USA's push for Australia to raise its defense expenditure to 3.5% of GDP signals USA's expectation of greater burden sharing in Indo-Pacific security. Complements Quad in Indo-Pacific with a focus on hard power. While Quad and AUKUS both seek to address common security challenges, AUKUS focuses exclusively on hard power. May undermine Quad. Some experts assert that Quad may lose relevance with emergence of AUKUS. India is often seen as limiting the Quad's full security potential due to its aversion to military alliances. Shift in U.S. regional security strategy. The U.S. has moved from self-reliant regional security to boosting Indo-Pacific partners' capabilities in response to China. Lack of Asian participation. Observers argue that AUKUS is a Western-dominated grouping, as it has no Asian participation unlike Quad. Synergy between UK and Australia. It is in sync with Australian National Defence Strategy and UK's Strategic Defence Review. Issues in timely delivery. The USA's current production rate of 1.13 Virginia-class submarines annually is well below the 2 needed for national defense and the 2.33 needed to meet AUKUS obligations. Quick response. Nuclear submarines, approximately 20 knots, can reach conflict zones much quicker than conventional submarines, 6.5 knots, and can stay on station significantly longer. Nuclear proliferation. AUKUS agreement could encourage arms race and greater nuclear proliferation in the Pacific. Conclusion. India has a rare opportunity to develop a unique set of arrangements of its own with USA and its allies that will strengthen India's comprehensive national power as well as enhance its contribution to regional peace and security. 2.8. Girmitia Community. Why in the news? On his Trinidad and Tobago visit, the Prime Minister said India is working to create a Girmitia community database and to regularly host World Girmitia conferences. More on the news. Extension of OCI cards to the 6th generation of the Indian diaspora in Trinidad and Tobago was also announced. Additionally, Trinidad and Tobago has become the first country in the region to adopt India's Unified Payments Interface, UPI. About Girmitias were Indian indentured labourers who left India in the mid to late 19th century to work in British colonies, especially after enforcement of British Slavery Abolition Act 1833, causing labour shortage. The term Gurmit is a mispronunciation of agreement referring to the contract under which they migrated. They went to work on sugar plantations, tea gardens, etc. in the colonies, and many eventually settled there. Distribution: Mauritius, Fiji, West Indies, Mauritius, South Africa, Caribbean, mostly Trinidad and Tobago, Guyana, Suriname, and Jamaica. Source regions: mostly from the eastern United Provinces and Bihar. The economic challenges they faced back home: poverty, unemployment, unfavorable agricultural conditions, and prospect of greater pay and living conditions in the colonies were the main motivators for many Girmitias. However, after reaching the colonies, the workers continued to live in poverty as they had no access to resources, living wages, or even food and potable water. A note: Tamils from Madras, Negapatam and Thondi went to Ceylon, Burma and Malaysia. Significance of Girmitias for India: deep cultural ties. They became the majority group in countries like Mauritius, Guyana, Trinidad and Tobago, and Suriname, driving significant cultural assimilation of Indian traditions into local cultures. Songs, music, traditions similar to India, festivals, celebration of Diwali, Ramleela in Fiji, Hosai festival in Trinidad and Tobago. Folk songs in Fiji and Suriname, North Indian folk songs Kaharva, Birha, Lorik, Faruahi, etc. are popular. Use of musical instruments like Danatal with Dolak, harmonium, Dandatal, Eastern Uttar Pradesh. Language: Hindi, Bhojpuri, Awadhi are widely spoken in Mauritius, Fiji, and Suriname. Political: soft power, diplomacy, support at multilateral forums like the UN, WTO, etc. Hold highest state and government positions in the Girmitia countries. For EGI Prime Ministers of Mauritius, Navin Chandra Ramgoolam, Trinidad and Tobago, Kamla Prasad Bisesa. Economic: source of philanthropy, information exchanges, investments in innovation, and support for development projects. For example, Mauritius, 17% of total FDI FY 2024-25. Conclusion: The recent proposal to introduce the history of Girmitiyas in school education in India is significant to preserve the culture, art, and history of Girmitiyas is welcome and highlights the overall significance of the community and our cultural heritage. 2.9 News in Shorts. 2. 9.1 Kaladan Multimodal Transit Transport Project, KMTTP. Union Minister said that KMTTP will be operational by 2027. Jointly identified by India and Myanmar, it offers multimodal transportation of cargo from eastern ports of India to Myanmar and to India's northeastern region, NER, through Myanmar. About KMTTP, Framework Agreement signed in 2008. Nodal Ministry, Ministry of External Affairs. Project Development Consultant, PDC. Framework Agreement signed in 2008. Nodal Ministry, Ministry of External Affairs. Project Development Consultant, Waterways Authority of India, EY. Transit components. O waterway component on Kaladan River from Sitwe Port, Rakhine, Myanmar to Paletwa in Myanmar. O road component from Paletwa to Zorimpui on India-Myanmar border in Mizoram. Significance of KMTTP for India. N geographic is connected with rest of India through the Chicken's Neck is narrow corridor of surrounded by international borders. Isolation of NER. Region. Just 21 kilometers, and aligns with India's Act East policy, AEP, announced in 2014, focuses on India's connectivity with the neighborhood. Logistics cost and time. Cost and time for transportation of goods from Kolkata to Aizawl would drop by more than 50%. Develop NER as a business hub. Boost trade. Establish export-oriented industries, particularly in sectors like manufacturing and agro-processing. Other connectivity projects for NER. India-Myanmar-Thailand Trilateral Highway Project connects Moreh, Manipur, India to Maysot, Thailand via Myanmar.
IMT.
Protocol on Inland Water Transit and Trade, PRWTNT, between India and Bangladesh, allowing inland vessels cruises of one country to ply on the designated waterway routes of another. Others, Bangladesh, Bhutan, India, Nepal, BBIN, Motor Vehicle Agreement, MOU for the use of Chattogram and Mongla ports of Bangladesh. 2. 9.2 US decides to pull out of UNESCO. The withdrawal was announced, citing the agency's support for woke and divisive causes and anti-Israel bias. Additionally, the US also took steps to withdraw from other UN bodies and agencies, such as the WHO, and significantly reduced funding to the United Nations Relief and Works Agency for Palestine. This marks the third US exit from UNESCO and the second under the current leadership. Impact of US withdrawal. Budgetary impact. The US contributes nearly 8% of UNESCO's total budget. Geopolitical impact. The withdrawal may create space for increased influence by other powers, particularly China. Impact on multilateralism. Exiting a UN body may weaken trust in multilateral institutions and signal a retreat from global cooperation. About UNESCO. Purpose: to contribute to peace and security by promoting collaboration among the nations through education, science, and culture. Its headquarters in Paris serves as the organization's main building. It has 194 members and 12 associate members. It is a specialized agency of the United Nations. Key reports and initiatives. O Global Education Monitoring Report. O World Trends in Freedom of Expression and Media Development. O UNESCO. World Heritage Sites. O Man and the Biosphere. MABE Program. 2. 9.3 Group of Friends, GOF. India has reiterated its commitment to ensuring justice for crimes committed against UN peacekeepers at the meeting of the Group of Friends, GOF. About GOF. It is Indian-led initiative and seeks to facilitate the promotion of accountability for all acts of violence against UN peacekeepers. Launched in 2022. The group is a driving force of United Nations Alliance of Civilizations, UNAOC, and plays a vital role in UNAOC's strategic planning and implementation process. 2. 9.4 Pact for Future. India reaffirms commitment to Pact for Future at UN Dialogue. About Pact for Future. Pact for the Future includes, it was adopted at Summit of the Future in 2024, O Global Digital Compact. It is the first comprehensive global framework for digital cooperation and a declaration on future generations. Feature. It makes clear commitments and achieves concrete deliverables on a range of issues with strong attention to human rights, gender, and sustainable development. It formulates various commitments in the areas of sustainable development and financing for development, science, technology and innovation and digital cooperation, international peace and security, youth and future generations, and transforming global governance. 2. 9.5. International Criminal Court, ICC. International Criminal Court welcomed Ukraine as 125th state party to the Rome Statute. About the ICC, it is the first international permanent court to investigate and prosecute individuals accused of serious international crimes, genocide, war crimes, crimes against humanity, and the crime of aggression. Established under the Rome Statute, adopted in 1998, entered into force in 2002. HQ, The Hague, Netherlands. India is not party to the Rome Statute. 2. 9.6. E3 countries. Iran was recently threatened of snapback sanctions by E3 countries amidst the derailed US-Iran nuclear talks. Snapback sanctions under 2015 Joint Comprehensive Plan of Action, JCPOA, are provisions that allow reimposition of sanctions against Iran if it violates its nuclear commitments. About E3 countries. About E3 is an informal foreign and security cooperation arrangement between the UK, Germany, and France. Origin. The E3 met for the first time after the US attacked Iraq in 2003 to identify a trilateral strategy towards Iraq and manage nuclear risks coming from Iran. 2. 9.7. Global Peace Index 2025, 19th edition of the Global Peace Index, GPI, has been released by the Institute for Economics and Peace, IEP. About Global Peace Index, GPI. It included 163 independent states and territories. It uses 23 qualitative and quantitative indicators across 3 domains. Level of societal safety and security. Extent of ongoing domestic and international conflict. Degree of militarization. Key findings. Average level of global peacefulness deteriorated. South Asia, the second least peaceful region globally, experienced the largest regional decline in peacefulness. Ranking. Iceland has been placed at first place. Russia, 163 rank, is the least peaceful country. India's rank is 115th. 2. 9.8. Red Sea. Red Sea cargo ships face new attacks as Houthis, Yemen, claim to have sunk vessel. Red Sea. Red Sea marginal sea in the northwest of the Indian Ocean. It is connected to the Gulf of Aden via Strait of Bab el-Mandeb and to the Mediterranean Sea via Suez Canal. Bordering nations, Egypt, Sudan and Eritrea west, Israel, Jordan, northeast, via the Gulf of Aqaba and Saudi Arabia, Yemen, east. Northern split. Red Sea, in its northern part, splits into 2 parts, the Gulf of Suez, northwest, and Gulf of Aqaba, northeast. It contains one of the world's most saline seawater. The Red Sea receives very little precipitation in any form, and no water enters the Red Sea from rivers. 2. 9.9. New Caledonia. France announces an agreement to give New Caledonia more autonomy. The agreement would create the state of New Caledonia within the French Republic that would give the semi-autonomous Pacific territory more freedoms but stop short of granting it independence. New Caledonia. Location: French overseas territory in the Pacific Ocean. History. During the 1840s, islanders were kidnapped by European traders as slaves or for forced labor in sugarcane plantations, later in 1853, annexed by France. Present demand. Deep divisions between its indigenous, and Kanak independence. February 9th, 10. M23. Rebels, Democratic Republic of Congo, DRC, and Rwanda-backed. M23 rebels have committed to a permanent ceasefire in eastern Congo.
Sorry.
About M23 rebels, M23 or March 23rd movement primarily consists of ethnic Tutsis, is a major armed group fighting Congolese forces in mineral-rich eastern DRC. It is named after date in 2009 of the signing of an accord between CNDP, a Tutsi-led rebel group, and the Congolese government to end a revolt led by the Tutsi people. CNDP members formed the M23 movement in 2012 to protest the failed implementation of the 2009 accord for protecting minorities and distributing resources evenly. February 9-11, Henley Passport Index 2025. India's ranking in Henley Passport Index jumps from 85, 2024 to 77, 2025. Indian citizens can now travel to 59 destinations without needing to secure a visa beforehand. About Henley Passport Index. It is the original authoritative ranking of all the world's passports according to the number of destinations their holders can access without a prior visa. It is based on exclusive data from the International Air Transport Association, IATA. Singapore holds the top spot in the index. 3. Economy, 3.1. Prime Minister Dandhanya Krishi Yojana, PMDDKY. Why in the news? In pursuance of the Union Budget 2025-26 announcement, PMDDKY was approved for a period of 6 years.
We will stop it here. And okay, so we will take a look again at what happened. So Henley पासपोर्ट इंडेक्स में इंडिया की रैंकिंग बढ़ गई है, 85 पे आ गई है, 85 से 77 पे आ गई है 2025 में. मार्च 23 रेबल ये बेसिकली टुत्सी रेबल्स, जो टुत्सी एथनिक ग्रुप है या ट्राइबल ग्रुप है अफ्रीका का, उसके ऊपर है. इट्स अ मेजर आर्म्ड फाइटिंग ग्रुप कॉन्गोलीज फोर्सेस. ठीक है, सो इसके अगेंस्ट जब ये एंड कराया जिस डेट को, मार्च 23 को, उसके नाम पे रखा है आफ्टर डेट of signing of accord between CNDP and a Tutsi, which is Tutsi-led rebel group, and Congolese government to end revolt by the Tutsi people. ठीक है, इसका रीजन बता रखा है M23 एरिया ऑफ ऑपरेशन. सो ऑब्वियसली मिड अफ्रीका में है, कॉन्गो बेसिन के पास में. ठीक है, साइड में है युगांडा, रवांडा, बुरुंडी एंड डेमोक्रेटिक रिपब्लिक ऑफ कॉन्गो. ठीक है, फिर यहाँ पे है न्यू कैलेडोनिया. फ्रांस ने ऑटोनॉमी बढ़ाने की बात की है, वुड क्रिएट स्टेट ऑफ न्यू कैलेडोनिया विद इन फ्रेंच रिपब्लिक. ठीक है, फिर रेड सी आर, ये तो बहुत कॉमन है, पता ही है कि वापस से हौती रेबल्स जो थे वापस से येमेन वाले, इनके अटैक बढ़ गए हैं इस एरिया में. रेड सी इन इट्स नॉर्दर्न पार्ट स्प्लिट्स इनटू 2 पार्ट्स, गल्फ ऑफ सुएज नॉर्थ वेस्ट एंड गल्फ ऑफ अकाबा इन नॉर्थ ईस्ट. ठीक है, अच्छा अभी क्या बोल रहा है गल्फ ऑफ सुएज. सो देखो ये जो है ना, रुको जूम इन शायद हो जाए, या अब हो जाएगा. यहाँ पे 2 है, यहाँ एक गल्फ आता है, ये इसको हम बोलते हैं गल्फ ऑफ सुएज, और एक आता है ये जिसको हम कहते हैं गल्फ ऑफ अकाबा. ठीक है, ये रेड सी है, ये मेडिटेरेनियन है, ये सुएज कैनाल है, यहाँ पे बाबल मंडप स्ट्रेट है, ये गल्फ ऑफ एडन है, ये जो इरिट्रिया है ये अपनी बॉर्डरिंग ये वाली कंट्री है, येमेन है, और ये येमेन यहीं के जो आपके रेबल्स हैं वो इसी कंट्री के हैं, येमेन के. यहाँ इस एरिया को चोक करने की बात कर रहे हैं, जैसे ट्रेड नहीं हो पाएगा. और दिस इज़ अ वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट ट्रेड रूट फॉर वर्ल्ड, है ना. बहुत नियरली 50%, 40 to 50% ट्रेड यहाँ से पास करता है, और मे बी मोर देन दैट वर्ल्ड ट्रेड. ठीक है, रेड सी हो गया. देन यू हैव ग्लोबल पीस इंडेक्स रिलीज़ किया है, रशिया को एकदम लोएस्ट पे रखा है, इंडिया को 115 पे रखा है. ठीक है, रशिया 163. ठीक है, E3 कंट्रीज़ ने बेसिकली ईरान के अगेंस्ट थ्रेटन किया है स्नैपबैक सैंक्शन का. सो बेसिकली स्नैपबैक सैंक्शन क्या थे? स्नैपबैक सैंक्शंस थे, इन्होंने सेटअप किया था यूके, जर्मनी और फ्रांस, मतलब यूरोप के जो 3 बड़े पावर्स हैं, यूके, जर्मनी और फ्रांस, इन्होंने सेटअप किया है अगेंस्ट ईरान. और ये क्यों किया था? जब यूएस ने अटैक किया था इराक पे. आइडेंटिफाइंग अ ट्रायलैटरल स्ट्रेटजी टुवर्ड्स इराक, मैनेजिंग न्यूक्लियर रिस्क्स कमिंग फ्रॉम ईरान. ईरान, नॉट इराक, ठीक है, ईरान. नाउ इंटरनेशनल क्रिमिनल कोर्ट. सो ICC वेलकम यूक्रेन एज 125th state party to Rome Statute. It is first international permanent court to investigate and prosecute individuals accused of serious international crimes, genocides, wars, war crimes, crimes against humanity and crime of aggression. ठीक है. Next is Pact for Future. India reformed Pact for Future UN dialogue. So adopted at Summit of Future in 2024. Basically, it's a declaration. It's a declaration of Global Digital Compact and Declaration on Future Generations. Feature it makes a clear commitment on achieving concrete deliverables on major issues, including strong attention to human rights, gender and sustainable development, gender equality and sustainable development. ठीक है. Now US decides to pull out of UNESCO. ऐसा बोला क्योंकि वो एंटी इजराइल बायस. So basically citing the agency's support for the woke and divisive causes and anti-Israel bias. So Israel का supporter है US और anti-Israel bias उसको देखा तो फिर वो बाहर हो गया यूनेस्को से. थर्ड एग्जिट है यूनेस्को से US का. US को दादा है. He has all the monetary power, he has all the military power. Whatever US do is a powerful step and the world notes that. ठीक है. नेक्स्ट इज कालादान मल्टी मॉडल ट्रांजिट ट्रांसपोर्ट प्रोजेक्ट, क्योंकि नहीं होता ना हमारी मैगजीन में अगर US पावरफुल नहीं होता. ओके, दैट्स अ डिफरेंट केस. ना कालादान मल्टी मॉडल ट्रांजिट ट्रांसपोर्ट प्रोजेक्ट KMTTP. सो बेसिकली यहाँ पे क्या हुआ है, यूनियन मिनिस्टर ने बोला है कि 2027 में ऑपरेशनल हो जाएगा इंडिया म्यांमार के बीच में. 2 रूट हैं, एक है इसका सी रूट और एक है इसका रोड वाला रूट. ठीक है. सो जो रोड का रूट है ये कंबाइंड है, मतलब पहले एक ये बाईपास करता है बांग्लादेश को. सो हुगली रिवर से लेके सितवे पोर्ट यहाँ से अपना सी रूट है, और फिर ऐजवाल से लेकर के जो म्यांमार अपने इंडिया में है वहाँ से म्यांमार में पलेटवा रोड रूट है. 2 कंपोनेंट हैं इसके. पहला कंपोनेंट है वाटरवे कंपोनेंट एंड एक है रोड कंपोनेंट. सो पहला कंपोनेंट जो है रोड वाटर वाला वो कालादान रिवर पे बना हुआ है ना. वो कालादान रिवर पे बना हुआ है फ्रॉम सितवे पोर्ट रखाइन म्यांमार टू पलेटवा इन म्यांमार. सो सितवे पोर्ट ये रहा टू पलेटवा इन म्यांमार, एक तो ये रहा. ठीक है. कालादान फ्रॉम सितवे पोर्ट टू पलेटवा इन म्यांमार, एक ये बना हुआ है, और दूसरा है फ्रॉम पलेटवा टू जोरिनपुई ऑन इंडिया म्यांमार बॉर्डर इन मिजोरम. ठीक है. जोरिनपुई बॉर्डर क्रॉसिंग यहाँ तक, ये हमारे कंपोनेंट हैं. एक ये है और एक जोरिनपुई बॉर्डर क्रॉसिंग है. 62 किलोमीटर का हाईवे है बीच में, और कालादान रिवर जेटी 158 किलोमीटर का है. और जो सी रूट उसके बाद वो तो हम इंडिया ले ही आएगा. ठीक है. मतलब मेन कंपोनेंट जो कंस्ट्रक्शन का ऐजवाल से लेकर सितवे पोर्ट. ठीक है. ओके, नाउ मूविंग फॉरवर्ड. अब ऊपर एक चलो और न्यूज़ तो क्या था, 8-9 थे. गिरमितिया कम्युनिटी. ठीक है. फिर गीलोंग ट्रीटी अंडर ऑकस. देन यू हैड ब्रिक्स रियो डे जेनेरो डिक्लेरेशन. अभी ब्रिक्स समिट हुआ है रिसेंटली कंक्लूड वहाँ पे, 17 ब्रिक्स समिट. सो उसके बेसिस पे 17 ब्रिक्स समिट, ब्रिक्स लीडर साइन रियो डे जेनेरो डिक्लेरेशन. ठीक है. नेक्स्ट इज इंडिया ब्राज़ील रिलेशंस. ब्राज़ील का हाईएस्ट सिविलियन अवार्ड मिला है मोदी जी को. नाम है इसका ग्रैंड कॉलर ऑफ नेशनल ऑर्डर ऑफ सदर्न क्रॉस. ग्रैंड कॉलर ऑफ नेशनल ऑर्डर ऑफ सदर्न क्रॉस. ठीक है. मूविंग फॉरवर्ड टू मरकॉसर एग्रीमेंट की बात हो रही है. इंडिया, लैटिन अमेरिका, कैरेबियन में भी प्राइम मिनिस्टर का विजिट था. ट्रिनिडाड टोबैगो में, अर्जेंटीना में, ब्राज़ील में, बिफोर द पार्टिसिपेशन ऑफ 17 ब्रिक्स समिट इन रियो डी जेनेरो. तो ये कंट्रीज घूमते हुए आए हैं. ठीक है. नाउ मूविंग फॉरवर्ड. और क्या था ऊपर, इंडिया अफ्रीका रिलेशंस. ठीक है, ये तो जनरल है. देन यू हैव चाइना हाइड्रो पावर प्रोजेक्ट. ये कंसर्न है इंडिया के लिए कि वो एक तरीके से यहाँ पे लिखा है ना वाटर बॉम्ब की तरह यूज़ कर सकता है. ये मेन कंसर्न है. इट कैन यूज़ एज अ वाटर बॉम्ब. इट कैन यूज़ एज अ वाटर बॉम्ब इन टाइम्स ऑफ टेंशन. ये मेन प्रॉब्लम है. सबसे बड़ा जो रिस्क है यही है ना. डिसरप्शन तो हो ही सकता है बाकी एग्रीकल्चर में, फूड में, फूड सिक्योरिटी, हाइड्रो प्रोजेक्ट्स में इनमें प्रॉब्लम दे सकता है, लेकिन वाटर बॉम्ब इज़ द मेन प्रॉब्लम। इंडिया पाकिस्तान के ऊपर कर रहा है इंडस वाटर ट्रीटी हटने के बाद, तो फिर सिमिलरली इंडिया यहाँ पे कंसर्न चाहता है कि जो लो लाइंग नेशंस हैं पर्टिकुलरली उनके फेवर की बात की जाए। ठीक है, नेक्स्ट इज 2.2 इंडिया मालदीव्स रिलेशन। इंडियन प्राइम मिनिस्टर पेड ऑफिशियल विजिट टू मालदीव्स मार्किंग 60 years of diplomatic ties। ठीक है, देन यू हैव इंडिया यूके comprehensive economic and trade agreement CETA. India and UK signed a comprehensive economic trade agreement making major milestone in their partnership। ठीक है, major developments apart from CETA, India UK vision 2035 and defense industrial roadmap। ठीक है, ये सब हो गया। अब आगे बढ़ जाते हैं नेक्स्ट टॉपिक पे जिसका नाम है इकोनॉमी। चलो, without a delay, let's
More on the news. Inspired by Niti Aayog's aspirational district program, the scheme focuses exclusively on agriculture and allied sectors. It focuses on 100 low-performing districts facing issues such as low yields, water scarcity, and limited resource access. Salient features of the scheme: budgetary allocation, Rs 24,000 crore annually for a period of 6 years, starting FY 2025-26. Implementation: the scheme is implemented by the Ministry of Agriculture and Farmers' Welfare and monitored through a 3-tier structure. O national level oversight bodies, O state level nodal committees, and O district Danya Samitis chaired by district collectors. These samitis will prepare a district agriculture allied activities plan through extensive stakeholder consultations.
100 low-lying districts facing issues.
Aayog will also review and guide the district plans and central nodal officers appointed for each district. Will review the scheme on a regular basis. Saturation-based convergence consolidates 36 existing agricultural schemes across 11 ministries, PM Kisan, PMFBI, etc. Other state schemes and local partnerships with the private sector. Progress tracking of each Danya district using 117 key performance indicators, KPIs. Transparency and accountability through a digital dashboard, farmer app, and district ranking system criteria and selection of districts. Niti Aayog will finalize 100 districts based on O low crop productivity, yields below national averages, O moderate cropping, intensity below national average, 155%, O low credit access, limited penetration of bank loans or KISS and credit cards, O geographic representation, at least one district per state and union territory, significance of PMDDKY, issues in agriculture, factors responsible, provisions under PMDDKY, low crop productivity, degraded, farming irrigation, land insufficient methods, or fragmentation. 86% of farmers own less than 2 hectares, NSSO 2019. Soil, outdated, provides access to high-yielding seeds, biofertilizers, and mechanized tools like seed drills. Egg, rice yields in Simanchal, Bihar, average 1.8 tons hectare compared to the national 2.7 tons. Lack of assured irrigation. Over 52% of India's farmland relies on monsoons. Bundelkhand's 2023 drought affected 30% of crops. Drip and sprinkler systems to ensure water availability, enabling year-round farming in dry regions. Lack of financial support. Lack of modern resources due to high costs of or high-quality mechanized equipment, tractors or harvesters. Seeds, biofertilizers, like include subsidies and loans through Kisan credit cards or NABARD. Absence of storage facilities. Up to 20% of crops, such as tomatoes and mangoes, spoil due to inadequate storage facilities. ICAR 2023. Provision of village and block level warehouses and cold storage to prevent spoilage. Low farmer income market. Inefficiencies and middlemen reduce profits. Reliance on into high promotes. Diversification value crops like pulses and vegetables, and direct market access through digital platforms like eNAM and new PMDDKY app to connect farmers directly to buyers. Unsustainable farming, excessive use of chemicals, pesticides, and monocrop practices. use of organic fertilizers, water-saving irrigation, and climate-resilient crops, lack of training and skill development, illiteracy, low participation in skilling programs, especially among women, lack of awareness and free workshops by Krishi Vigyan Kendras, agricultural KVKs, universities, and private partners on modern farming, drone use, and allied activities like beekeeping. Global exposure. Fully duele. Funded overseas training for 500 farmers in countries like Israel, drip irrigation, Japan, precision farming, and the Netherlands, greenhouse technology. Women empowerment. Support for 10,000 women. Producer groups with training, loans, and market linkages for activities like dairy or organic farming. Conclusion. PMDDKY is a flagship initiative to revitalize Indian agriculture, benefiting 1.7 crore farmers across 100 underperforming districts. Through irrigation, storage, credit, training, market access, and modern technology, it empowers small farmers, women, and youth, fostering sustainable and profitable farming. 3.2. Public debt in India. Why in the news?
Next.
Reserve Bank of India (RBI) in its biannual Financial Stability Report (FSR) 2025 found rising public debt in the Indian economy. More on the news. FSR presents the subcommittee of the Financial Stability and Development Council's (FSDC) assessment of the strength of India's financial system and risks to its stability. FSDC, established in 2010, is chaired by Finance Minister and includes heads of regulators like RBI, CBE, PFRDA, and IRDA. It is responsible for ensuring financial stability and coordination among regulators. Key highlights of the report. India still driver of global growth or resilience of Indian economy. India's real GDP is projected to grow at 6.5% in 2025-26, driven by strong domestic demand and an uptick in investment activity. Strong financial institutions, e.g., gross non-performing asset ratio, GNPA ratio, and net NPA, NNPA of scheduled commercial banks, SCBs, declined to multi-decadal lows of 2.3% and 0.5% respectively. Strong corporate sector performance. Large borrower cohorts GNPA ratio declined from 3.8% in September 2023 to 1.9% in March 2025. Inflation trends or domestic inflation. CPI inflation dropped to a 6-year low of 2.8% in May 2025. Imported inflation. Slower global growth may ease commodity and oil prices, though tensions in the Middle East add some uncertainty. Rising public debt. India's public debt as a percentage of GDP in 2024 have remained relatively on higher side, more than 80%, compared to peer emerging market economies, EMEs. According to IMF, global public debt is projected to reach above 95% in 2025 and 100 by the end of 2030. About public debt in India. Public debt, also known as a national debt, is the accumulated amounts of borrowing that government and other public sector bodies owe foreign the private sector and to governments. Excluding, public debt can be internal, borrowed within India, and external, borrowed from foreign sources. Internal debt is 96.59%, and external debt is 3.41% of total public debt of 18,174,284 crore, Union Budget 2025-2026. Potential impact of high public debt, increased interest costs, limited fiscal space, potential inflationary pressures, crowding out of private investment and impact growth and intergenerational equity. Legal framework for management of public debt in India. Fiscal Responsibility and Budget Management, FRBM Act, 2003. It provides a legislative framework for reduction of deficit and thereby debt of central government to a sustainable level over a medium term. It sets a target of containing central government debt to 40% and general government debt to 60% of GDP by 2024 to 25. RBI Act 1934. Under Section 20 of the Act, RBI was obliged to manage the central government public debt. Government Securities Act 2006.
RBM Act था.
It amends the law relating to government securities and its management by RBI. With this, the Public Debt Act 1944 ceased to apply to the government securities. Reasons of high public debt in India. Persistent fiscal deficits. Central government gross fiscal deficit stood at Rs 1577 lakh crore for FY 2024-25 against revised estimates of 15.69 lakh crore. Controller General of Accounts. High revenue expenditure. Total expenditure stood at Rs 56 lakh crore, with revenue expenditure recorded at Rs 36.04 lakh crore. Large outgo on subsidies, food, fertilizer, fuel, salary and pension obligations, etc. External debt growth. India's external debt rose 10% to $736.3 billion at the end of March 2025 from $668.8 billion a year earlier. RBI, pandemic-era spending. Central government debt rose driven by COVID-related healthcare and welfare spending. Way forward to manage and reduce public debt in India. Shift towards debt-GDP ratio. As the fiscal anchor, beginning 2026-27 financial year, central government has targeted a declining debt-GDP ratio to 50+1 by March 31st, 2031. Active debt management via bond switching. A bond switch is a mechanism through which the government replaces existing shorter duration sovereign bonds with long duration papers. The weighted average maturity of outstanding stock of central government market borrowings has risen from 10.4 years in 2018 to 19 to 13.2 years in 2024 to 25. Subsidy rationalization tax reforms, e.g. over 4 crore duplicate LPG connections deactivated to curb misuse under PAHAL scheme. GST compliance drives, e-invoicing, AI-based analytics, etc. Establish Public Debt Management Authority. It would enable RBI to focus on its core function of monetary policy, flexible inflation targeting, and regulating banks. Conclusion. India's high public debt, driven by persistent fiscal deficits and elevated expenditure, has helped sustain growth and welfare, but now constrains fiscal space and raises sustainability risks. Going forward, targeted fiscal consolidation, improved revenue mobilization, and efficient spending will be essential to reduce debt levels while supporting long-term growth. 3.3. Employability and skilling in India. Why in the news? Recently, the Union Cabinet approved the Employment-Linked Incentive (ELI) scheme, which is expected to enhance youth employability, nurture skills, and facilitate job retention in private sector. About Employment-Linked Incentive (ELI), CM's package of 5 schemes to facilitate employment and skilling opportunities for youth. Nodal Ministry, Ministry of Labour Employment. Purpose, promote job creation, enhance employability, and expand social security across sectors, specifically manufacturing. Target, 3.5 crore jobs, including first-time employees. About employability and skilling in India. According to the India Skills Report 2025. Employability, over 50% of graduates, 53.47% for male and 46.53% for female, are employable in 2024, up from 33% a decade ago, 17% rise. Drivers, growth driven by focus on emerging technologies like AI, cloud computing, and automation. Challenges existing in India's employability and skilling landscape. India is expected to add 10 million workers annually over the next decade. However, in FY 2023 to 24 only, 4.67 crore jobs were created. To fully reap the benefits of the demographic dividend, the key challenges are as follows. Mismatch between education and industry needs. Universities focus more on theory than practical skills. Graduates often lack hands-on experience and technical competencies, leading to lower employability in technical fields. Threat from automation. Graduates are significantly less prepared for technical roles, even in high-demand fields like AI and data science. 69% of jobs in India face automation risk, World Bank. Limited emphasis on soft skills development. The growing importance of soft skills such as communication, teamwork, and critical thinking remains undervalued in many university programs. This oversight contributes to graduates who are not only technically unprepared, but also lack the interpersonal skills necessary for success in the workplace. Key initiatives taken for employability and skilling. Skill India Mission, SIM, launched by Ministry of Skill Development and Entrepreneurship. The restructured scheme constitute PM Kaushal Vikas Yojana, PMKVY, 4.0, National Apprenticeship Promotion Scheme, NAPS, and Jan Shikshan Sansthan, JSS, PMKVY 4.0. The focus is to empower trained candidates to choose their varied career path, and they are suitably oriented for the same. NAPS promotes apprenticeship by offering financial support for apprentice stipends. Training includes both basic and on-the-job/practical training in industries. JSS, vocational training for non-literates, dropouts, and disadvantaged groups, ages 15-45, trained 26+ lakh people since 2018-19. Skill India Digital Hub SIDH platform launched to integrate skilling, education, employment, and entrepreneurship ecosystems. India Skills Accelerator, a public-private collaboration platform launched by Ministry of Skill Development and Entrepreneurship, MSDE, in collaboration with the World Economic Forum, WEF. Skill Impact Bond, held by the National Skill Development Corporation, NSDC. Its first development impact bond in India, dedicated to skills training and job placement. Conclusion. Harnessing the demographic dividend needs strong skills. Immediate investment in education, training, healthcare, and social protection is key. Strengthening human capital, fixing labor market gaps, and matching technology with workforce needs will drive inclusive and sustainable growth. 3.4. The future of work. Why in the news? Tata Consultancy Services, TCS, recent announcement to lay off 12,000 employees has raised implications on future of work. More about the news. Many experts have alleged that the future of work is currently marked by significant job displacement due to automation and AI, leading to increased layoffs across various sectors. Other than TCS, many multinational corporations, Meta, Amazon, etc., have let go more than 105,000 positions worldwide this year. Layoffs landscape study. 20% of them were in India, and some 45% of the layoffs were in HR, support, content, and coding. Although TCS has clarified that this decision is based on skills mismatch and not AI, it raises concerns on the future of work and unemployability of our youth currently and in the years to come. About layoffs. Layoff means the failure, refusal, or inability of an employer due to various reasons. Shortage of coal, power, or raw materials, or natural calamity, etc., to give employment to a workman in worker list. Legal provisions related to layoffs. Industrial Disputes Act, 1947. This is a key legal framework governing layoff in India. Karnataka High Court in Commissioner of Income Tax v. Texas Instruments, India. Be it Limited Health Software, engineers as workmen under Industrial Disputes Act, 1947. 4 Labor Codes. Code on Industrial Relations regulates the process of layoffs by setting rules for notice periods, government, approvals in certain establishments, and worker-employer dispute resolution.
ये अपडेट हुए हैं अभी नवंबर 2025
workers
में.
affected by layoffs receive timely payment of wages and compensation, protecting them from sudden income loss. Code on Occupational Safety, Health and Working Conditions mandates that even during layoffs or closures, employers must maintain certain safety and welfare provisions until separation is complete. Code on Social Security provides access to benefits such as gratuity, provident fund and unemployment, allowances for laid-off workers. Transformation of how work is performed, organized and experienced, driven by technological, economic and demographic shifts. How these drivers impact the future of work? Economic impact. Shift in job types. 170 million new jobs are projected. The movement from routine, manual jobs to high-skill, knowledge-based and service-oriented roles, e.g. big data specialists, fintech engineers, etc. Vulnerable jobs. Microsoft researchers argue that jobs involving writing, research, and communication, such as translators, journalists, and historians, may be replaceable by AI tools. Productivity boost. Generative AI could boost productivity, adding an estimated $2.60, $4.4 trillion to the economy each year, McKinsey report. Sectoral shifts. ILO estimates 54 million green jobs will be created between 2021 and 2030. Workforce skills impact. Reskilling, upskilling. The future-ready skills such as analytical thinking, creative thinking, resilience needed for workers. Skill instability. According to WEF, 39% workers' core skills will change by 2030. Social impact. Inequality concerns. Wage and opportunity gaps may widen between high-skilled and low-skilled workers, e.g., difference between software developer and data entry operator. Gender inequality may widen. ILO study estimated average gender pay gap of 34% for India in comparison to global average of 20%. Tribal growth and development will be impacted. E.g., the literacy rate of scheduled tribes is 13%, lower than that of the average literacy rate of India, hence affecting skill development. Ethical or social responsibility. IT firms have a social responsibility to ensure fair and humane workforce management practices, especially given the substantial investment in employee development. Worker rights. Striking a balance between business efficiency and employee well-being is crucial in era of hire and fire. Psychological impact. Work-life balance, anxiety, stress, and other mental health issues among the workforce. Initiatives taken by government for future of work, skilling, upskilling, and reskilling. Pradhan Mantri Kaushal Vikas Yojana, PMKVY, scheme for imparting skill development training through short-term training, STT, and upskilling and reskilling through recognition of prior learning, RPL. Future skills. Prime is a digital skilling initiative by NASSCOM MIT aimed at making India a digital talent nation for adoption of new emerging technologies. OAI for India 2030 initiative by the Ministry of Electronics and Information Technology. National Mission on Interdisciplinary Cyber Physical System, NMICPS, by Department of Science, Technology, to enhance startups, human resource and skill sets in emerging areas. For health and well-being. National Telemental Health Program to improve access to mental health counseling and care services. Conclusion. There is the need to strike a balance between business competitiveness and workforce well-being. Sustained investment in skill development, social safety nets, and ethical corporate practices will be crucial to ensuring that the future of work remains inclusive, resilient, and equitable. To read more about impacts of workplace automation, refer to Article 6.1, Workplace Automation in April 2025, Monthly Current Affairs Magazine. 3.5, Research, Development and Innovation, RDI Scheme, Why in the News. The Union Cabinet recently approved RDI Scheme with a corpus of Rs 1 lakh crore. About RDI Scheme, Nodal Department, Department of Science and Technology. Key objective of the scheme. Encourage the private sector to scale up research, development, and innovation, RDI, in sunrise domains and in other sectors relevant for economic security, strategic purpose, and self-reliance. Finance transformative projects at higher levels of technology readiness levels, TRL, support acquisition of technologies which are critical or of high strategic importance. Facilitate setting up of a deep tech fund of worth funds. Funding and financial support at total budget, Rs 1 lakh crore or modes of financing. Long-term loan at low or nil interest rates. Equity in case of infusion, especially startups. Contributions to deep tech. Fund of funds. Exclusions. Grants and short-term loans are not supported or coverage. Financing can cover up to 50% of assessed project cost for transformative RDI projects at TRLs 4 and above. Exceptions may be approved by the empowered group of secretaries, EGOs, implementation structure or special purpose fund, being set up under the Anusandan National Research Foundation, ANRF, to serve as the first-level custodian. The governing board of ANRF also provides strategic direction to RDI scheme. or second-level fund managers may include alternate investment funds, AIFs, development finance institutions, DFIs, non-banking financial companies, NBFCs, or focused research organizations, FROs, such as Technology Development Board, TDB,
Second level पे
IIT
है
research parks, or similar
AIFs,
entities.
okay, ऐसे नहीं करते हैं.
Significance of the scheme.
AIF,
Recognize
DFIs,
private sector role
NBFCs.
in R&D. It directly addresses and overcomes critical funding constraints and challenges faced by the private sector by providing growth risk capital. Catalyst for private sector investment. The RDI scheme, in partnership with ANRF, aims to boost private sector investment in R&D, or public R&D expenditure can have a leverage effect on catalyzing private R&D activity, driving commercialization. Unlike public R&D, industrial R&D primarily focuses on marketable, profitable products essential for real-world economic impact, fostering self-reliance. It supports technologies where indigenization is essential for strategic or economic reasons, aligning with the vision of Atmanirbharta, creates and maintains jobs. Incentivizing R&D will create more opportunities, especially for graduates. Challenges in research and development in India. Low R&D. Investment and diversification. India's R&D expenditure stands at only 0.7% of GDP over the past 2 decades, significantly lower than global leaders like South Korea, 4.8%, and Israel, 5.6%. Moreover, in FY 2021-22, the private sector contributed gross expenditure on research and development, compared to over 70% in countries like the US and China. Limited state-level R&D funding. During 2020-21, states accounted for only 6.7% of national R&D spending. Limited collaboration between industry and academia. The triple helix model, seen in the US, remains underdeveloped, hindering commercialization and innovation. Underutilization of funds. Departments such as DBT and DST utilized only 72% and 61% of their budgets in 2022-23, reflecting systemic inefficiencies. Insufficient recognition of scientific talent. Although India produces over 40,000 PhDs annually, systemic issues like bureaucracy and lack of incentives deter innovation despite available human capital. Way forward, increase and diversify R&D funding. Raise gross expenditure on R&D, GERD, to at least 2% of GDP by 2030 in line with national STI policy targets. Incentivize private sector investment through tax rebates, innovation-linked funding, and credit guarantees. State-specific S and T need mapping. Establish state science, technology, innovation councils to design localized R&D roadmaps. Promote regional innovation hubs like Kerala's Startup Mission or Bengaluru's Biotech Cluster. Strengthen institutional structures. Implement research cluster models like CSIR innovation hubs to pool expertise and avoid duplication. Foster industry academia. Collaboration. Set up joint R&D centers funded by industry and government. For example, semiconductor mission partnerships. Use models like ISRO industry partnerships and satellite manufacturing for other sectors. Efficient resource utilization. Adopt output-based funding, linking budget allocations to research publications, patents, and societal impact. Recognize and retain scientific talent. Expand fellowships like Prime Minister's Research Fellowship, PMRF, and introduce global talent repatriation schemes. Provide fast-track funding for young innovators and women scientists through schemes like Curie and Kiran. Government initiatives to boost R&D in India. Anusandhan National Research Foundation, ANRF, launched under the ANRF Act 2023. It aims to increase R&D funding and promote partnerships between researchers, industries, and universities. National AI Mission. It focuses on advancing artificial intelligence. It applies AI in healthcare, agriculture, education, and governance for better innovation and services. Atal Innovation Mission, AM. It promotes innovation and startups. Also sets up Atal Tinkering Labs, ATLs, in schools and incubation centers for young entrepreneurs. National Quantum Mission, NQM. Under this mission, 4 thematic hubs, T-hubs, have been established in key technology verticals of quantum computing, quantum communication, quantum sensing metrology, and quantum materials devices. 3.6. Financial inclusion in India. Why in the news? The RBI Financial Inclusion Index, FI Index, has risen to 67 in 2025, up by 24.3% since 2021. More on the news. FI Index captures financial inclusion across the country while representing different sectors such as banking, investment, insurance, pension, etc. With boost in the index, the growth was witnessed across all three sub-indices of index, that is, access, usage, and at quality. Improvement in the FI index in FY 2025 is a reflection of enhancement in usage and quality dimensions, which indicates strengthening of financial inclusion and financial literacy initiatives. Understanding financial inclusion. Index. RBI's FI index is designed to provide a comprehensive measure of financial inclusion in India. Planning Commission 2009 viewed financial inclusion as universal access to a wide range of financial services at a reasonable cost, including banking, insurance, and equity products. Score of index. It operates on a scale from 0 to 100. 0 signifies complete financial exclusion and 100 represents full financial inclusion. No base year. Released annually since 2021 and reflects cumulative progress of all stakeholders over the years towards financial inclusion. Structure of index comprises three broad parameters, sub-indices, each with assigned weights and numerous indicators. Key driving factors of financial inclusion in India, government initiatives, Pradhan Mantri Jan Dhan Yojana, PMJDE, 2014, facilitating the opening of over 56 crore bank accounts. National Strategy for Financial Inclusion, NSFI 2019 to 2024, provides a roadmap for universal access to financial services. Aadhaar, simplified KYC processes, significantly aiding account opening and direct benefit transfers, boosted direct benefit transfer, DBT efficiency. Digital India, expanded access to digital financial services, transformative role of technology. Unified Payments Interface, UPI. UPI has become the most preferred transaction mode for nearly 38% of individuals in rural and semi-urban India, especially those aged 18-35. Jam Trinity, Jan Dhan Aadhaar Mobile. This framework has provided the necessary digital public goods infrastructure to leverage increasing mobile penetration, forming the backbone of digital financial inclusion. Artificial intelligence, AI, and machine learning, ML. AI is revolutionizing financial services by inclusive credit. Aware, scoring, chatbots and voice assistants, fraud detection, etc. Role of financial institutions, microfinance institutions, MFIs. India holds the position of having the second largest global outreach in microfinance after China, with over 140 million clients. Self-help groups, SHGs, over 13.4 million SHGs, with 84.25% comprising women, impact 160 million households, 2023. They provide platforms for savings and credit, fostering financial literacy, and significantly reducing reliance on high-cost, informal credit. Bank Sakis, women business correspondents, are key for last-mile service delivery. Commercial banks. RBI mandates priority sector lending, PSL, to critical sectors like agriculture and MSMEs. Challenges to financial inclusion. Account. Inactivity. Approximately 35% of accounts, 2021 in India, remain inactive due to lack of trust in banks, physical distance, insufficient funds, and discomfort in using accounts independently. Gender disparities. In digital payments, a notable gender gap persists, that is 45% of men have made or received digital payments, whereas only 32% of women have done so. Rural and geographical barriers. Remote areas lack access to basic banking services due to limited physical infrastructure and low digital device penetration. E.g., rural smartphone penetration remains low at 28%. Financial illiteracy. Financial literacy levels among women are lower than men, highlighting the need for targeted education. Digital divide. Technological barriers, including lack of internet-enabled smartphones and low digital literacy, prevent certain segments from accessing digital financial services. Smartphone ownership stands at 82% in rural areas and 91% in urban areas. Other challenges: limited access to credit due to lack of knowledge, high transaction costs, quality of services, lack of trust and documentation, inadequate risk protection, etc. Way forward. To achieve universal and meaningful financial inclusion, India needs a multi-pronged, collaborative approach. Focus on underbanked and unbanked segments. The immediate goal for underbanked individuals is to subscribe to more financial products, while for the unbanked, it is to open a bank account by ease of application and reduced costs. Develop a tech-driven financial ecosystem, leveraging AI and advanced automation to provide personalized, accessible, and secure financial services in rural and remote areas. OEG successful case studies include use of robot investment assistants, RIAs, and central bank digital currency, yuan, ECNY, in China. Promote open systems. Advocate for and adopt interoperable open banking systems like Open Network for Digital Commerce, ONDC, and Open Credit Enablement Network, OSAN, to foster innovation and inclusion.
For example, ONDC.
Consumer protection. Strengthen data privacy laws and cybersecurity measures to protect individuals' financial information. Targeted policies. Encourage banks to provide affordable and accessible credit to women, small and marginal farmers, micro-enterprises, and the informal sector. Financial institutions can offer tailored financial products suited to the needs of low-income groups, such as micro-insurance and pension schemes. Public-private partnerships. Collaborations between governments, financial institutions, and telecom companies can accelerate financial inclusion. Public policy should encourage private sector involvement in providing mobile money services and digital payment platforms. Conclusion. By persistently addressing challenges and integrating successful strategies, India can deepen meaningful financial engagement, enhance resilience, and continue its trajectory toward becoming a global leader in inclusive finance, fostering greater economic opportunities for all citizens. 3.7. Digital India Mission. Why in the news? India has celebrated 10th years of the Digital India Mission, launched in 2015. About Digital India Mission. Nodal Implementing Ministry, Ministry of Electronics and Information Technology, MeitY. Purpose: to transform India into a digitally empowered society and knowledge economy. Nature: umbrella program that clubs together various e-governance initiatives across ministries and departments. Leveraging private sector, public-private partnerships, PPP, are preferred wherever feasible to implement e-governance projects. Objectives: to transform India into a digitally empowered society and knowledge economy. To ensure digital access, digital inclusion, digital empowerment, and bridge the digital divide. To ensure that government services are available to citizens electronically. Vision is centered on three key areas. Digital infrastructure as a utility to every citizen. Governance services on demand. Digital empowerment of citizens. Key achievements of Digital India Mission. Digital economy. India now ranks third globally in terms of digital economy size. State of India's Digital Economy Report 2024, and is expected to contribute nearly 20% of GDP by 2030. Rising internet penetration. Internet connections grew 285%, 2014-2024, while data costs dropped from Rs 308 GB to Rs 9, 34 per GB, making it more affordable. Financial inclusion. India leads globally in real-time payments, 49% of global transactions in 2023. DBT transferred, Rs 44 lakh crore till May 2025, removing ineligible beneficiaries for targeted delivery. Inclusivity language access. Initiatives like Bhashini are breaking language barriers by supporting over 30 Indian languages with different AI models. It is integrated into platforms like IRCTC ticketing, NPCI payment systems, and police documentation. Challenges that hinder harnessing full potential of Digital India mission. Digital literacy gap. Only 38% of households are digitally literate. OA. Internet usage is uneven. 31% in rural areas compared to 67% in urban areas. Oxfam 2022. Poor connectivity, broadband quality. Access is often unreliable due to outages, call drops, and weak signals. Outdated broadband definition, 2 megabits per second, compared to the global standard, 25 Mbps plus. Cybersecurity risks. India's cyber regulatory framework is inadequate, leaving systems vulnerable to hacking and DDoS attacks. Average data breach cost rose 13% to Rs 220 million in 2025, IBM. Healthcare digitization gaps. Projects like NDHM and eSanjeevani are hampered by weak infrastructure and low literacy. COVID vaccination drive excluded many without smartphones or digital skills. Way ahead to reap the full potential of Digital India mission, universal broadband connectivity. The BharatNet Phase 2 project should be fast-tracked through state-led, private sector, and CPSU models. Radio and satellite technologies can bridge gaps in remote gram panchayats, improve quality of service. Adequate contiguous spectrum must be allocated, with a push towards advanced technologies. Encourage private investment in network upgrades. Keep devices and data affordable to ensure inclusivity. Expand standardized e-services. The National E-Governance Division of MeitY must periodically audit state compliance to improve delivery standards. Strengthen cybersecurity. Develop a comprehensive framework for data security and complaint redressal. Strengthen national and cross-border cybercrime response teams. Increase research and development for secure IT networks. Boost digital literacy skills. Digital literacy should be integrated into school and college curricula, with the National Digital Literacy Mission training students to pass on knowledge within their communities. Include cybersecurity awareness in all training programs. 3.8. Intellectual property rights in India. Why in the news? India's intellectual property, IP filings, rose by 44% in last 5 years, led by a 380% surge in geographical indications. Reasons for increase in IP boom. Legal procedural simplification of IP laws rules, e.g. patent examination timeline reduced from 48 months to 31 months, and mandatory e-submission for patent documents. Modernization of IP offices. IP offices have been digitized, with a comprehensive e-filing system, leading to over 95% of applications being filed online. International standards, e.g., adoption of international classification under Locarno Agreement for Industrial Designs. Locarno Agreement is an international agreement under the World Intellectual Property Organization, WIPO, signed in 1968. Awareness capacity building, e.g., SPRIHA scheme, aims to integrate IPR education into higher learning institutions across the country, or National Intellectual Property, IP, awards, to recognize and reward the top achievers for their IP creations and commercialization. Other, fee concessions, 10% fee reduction for online filings, digital initiatives, IP Sathi chatbot for applicant support, an IP dashboard to provide real-time IP data, and use of AI and machine learning, etc. Intellectual property rights, IPR. Definition: IPR are the rights given to persons over the creations of their minds. They usually give the creator an exclusive right over the use of his/her creation for a certain period of time. 8 types of IPR are covered under IPR Policy Management, IPRPM framework. I. Patents. 2. Trademark. 3. Industrial designs. IV. Copyrights. V. Geographical indications. V. Semiconductor integrated circuit layout design. V8. Trade secret. And V8. Plant varieties. Administered by Controller General of Patents, Designs and Trademarks, which is under the control of the Department of Industrial Policy and Promotion, DIP, Ministry of Commerce and Industry. Act on Layout. Design of integrated circuits is administered by Ministry of Electronics and Information Technology, MIATWI. O Ministry of Agriculture administers the Act on Plant Variety. Details of legal and regulatory considerations for different IP areas. IPR area, subject, legal provision, term of protection, geographical indication GI, unique bearing, goods characteristics, geographical to due linkage, agricultural goods, natural goods, Geographical Indications Act 1999. 10 years, renewed for 10 years on, manufactured foodstuff, goods, handicrafts, and GI Rules 2002 amended in 2020. Payment of additional fees, design, new or original designs, ornamental visual appearance discernible to the human eye, which can be replicated industrially. The Design Act 2000 Designs Amendment, Rules 2021, 5 years, patents, must qualify requirements of being novel, inventive, and having industrial utility. The Patents Act 1970, Patent Rules 2003-2014, in, amended 2016, 2017, 2019, 2020, and 2021. 20 years, copyright, creative, artistic, literary, musical, and audiovisual works. The Copyrights Act 1957 and Copyrights Rules 2013, amended in 2021. Author lifetime plus 60 years. Producers 60 years, performers 50 years. Trademarks, protects brand name, logo, and design for a business or commercial enterprise. The Trademarks Act 1999, Trademark Rules 2017, 10 years, renewed for 10 years on payment of additional fees. Semiconductor integrated circuits, layout designs, SICLD, a layout of transistors and other circuitry including lead wires connecting elements, such elements and expressed in any manner in semiconductor integrated circuits. Semiconductor the Circuits Integrated Layout Design Act 2000 Rules 2001. 10 years. Trade secret. Confidential information having commercial value. Common law approach through Covered Contract Act, IP Act, and copyright, etc. Till the time confidentiality is safeguarded. Plant varieties, land races, all traditional varieties and developed varieties, non-traditional and non-landrace, in trade use for older than 1 year and not older than 15 years or 18 years, in case of trees and vines, and new plant varieties. Plant Protection Varieties and Farmers' Rights Act, BPVFRA, 2001, of 6-10 years. Challenges related to IPR in India. Low research and development R&D. Spending. India spends a mere 0.7% of its GDP on R&D, significantly lower than countries like China, 2.1%, and Brazil, 1.3%. Patent disputes and evergreening. The pharmaceutical sector often faces issues related to patent evergreening, where companies make minor modifications to existing drugs to extend their patent life. Section 3D of the Patents Act, 1970, prevents this, leading to disputes with multinational corporations. Compulsory licensing concerns. In the pharmaceutical sector, the government can allow the production of patented products, for example medicines, without the patent holder's consent. While this ensures access to essential medicines, it has led to tensions with global pharmaceutical time, =2S, source companies. IP financing in nascent stage. Due to lack of awareness, complexities in IP valuation, reliance on traditional tangible assets, and vulnerability of IP as collateral. IP financing is the use of IP assets, trademarks, design rights, patents, and copyright to gain access to credit. Ambiguity of patent pending. Status. Unlike countries like the USA, India lacks a clear provision for marking products as patent pending, which could deter competitors and act as a marketing tool. Other. Delays in IPR granting and backlog, weak enforcement of IPR laws, commercialization gap, high filings don't guarantee successful market-ready products, etc. Way forward. Holistic review of national IPR policy to address new and emerging trends in innovation, identify implementation gaps, and incorporate changes for expanding innovation ecosystem and IP financing. Strengthen state government participation to formulate and implement their own IPR policies, focusing on awareness, innovation in educational institutions, establishing state-level innovation councils, and curbing IP crimes. Strengthening enforcement mechanisms. Improve coordination between law enforcement, customs, and IP offices, and provide specialized IPR training. Establish more specialized IPR courts with technically trained judges. Create IP fund. Establish a dedicated IP fund to support initiatives fostering IP culture in remote and traditional knowledge-rich regions, such as tribal belts, hilly, and northeast states. Enhancing international collaboration. For example, cooperate with global IP bodies, for example, WIPO, and adopt best practices. O. Ensuring that trade agreements' IP provisions balance innovation, public health, and national interest. Other. Promoting innovation research through R&D incentives, tax breaks, grants. Strengthening cybersecurity, digital IPR protection to combat online piracy, enhance IP awareness through educational initiatives, etc. 3.9. News in shorts. 3. 9.1. Alternative Investment Fund. RBI has issued revised guidelines capping investment by regulated entities at 20% of the corpus of an AIF scheme. About Alternative Investment Fund, AIF. Any fund established or incorporated in India, which is a privately pooled investment vehicle, which collects funds from sophisticated investors, whether Indian or foreign, for investing it in accordance with a defined investment policy for the benefit of its investors. AIFs are regulated by the CB, as per the CB, Alternative Investment Funds, Regulations 2012. Categories of AIFs. Category 1 AIF. Invest in startups, early-stage ventures or sectors considered socially or economically beneficial. OEG. Venture capital funds, angel funds, SME funds, infrastructure funds. Category 2 AIF. They do not use leverage or debts other than to cover their day-to-day operational expenses. OEG private equity funds, debt funds, real estate funds. Category 3 AIF. It may use leverage including through investment in listed or unlisted derivatives. OEG hedge funds, private investment in public equity, PIPE. 3. 9.2. Digital Payments Index, DPI. The Indian digital payment landscape has witnessed over 65,000 crore digital transactions amounting to more than ours. 12,000 lakh crores in the last 6 financial years. About DPI, RBI has developed the DPI, published semi-annually, to measure the extent of digital payment adoption across India. DPI comprises these broad parameters: payment enablers, payment infrastructure demand-side factors, supply-side factors, payment performance, consumer centricity. The latest RBI DPI indicates over 4-fold growth in digital payment penetration since 2018. 3. 9.3. Financial
ये
Conditions
important है
Index,
ना?
FCI. A study of RBI has proposed the construction of a FCI for India to track market trends with daily frequency. About Financial Conditions Index, FCI. It assesses the degree of relatively tight or easy financial market conditions with reference to its historical average since 2012. The chosen indicators represent 5 market segments: money market, GSEC market, corporate bond market, forex market, and equity market. A higher positive value of the FCI indicates tighter financial conditions. 3. 9.4. Global Findex 2025. The World Bank report titled Global Findex 2025, released reflecting achievements in digital and financial inclusion. India-specific highlights. 16% of account owners do not have an active account, the average for all other low and middle income. India has account ownership at or close to 90%. Economies is 4%. The share of both women and men with only inactive accounts decreased between 2021 and 2024. The primary barrier to mobile phone ownership is the cost of the device and lack of reliable mobile network coverage. 3. 9.5. Stablecoins. Genius Act has been enacted in the US to establish a regulatory framework for stablecoins. Stablecoins are a type of cryptocurrency whose value is linked to that of another currency, commodity, or financial instrument. E.g., Tether, USDT, is pegged to the US dollar. They have the potential to bring efficiencies to payments. Why has the use of stablecoins increased? Linked to an underlying asset. Due to this, they can maintain a steadier value, making them a more reliable medium of exchange than other volatile cryptocurrencies like
Yeah, they are linked
bitcoins.
to underlying assets.
Underlying assets are backed by an identifiable issuer, unlike many unbacked crypto assets. Issuers could be banks, non-bank financial entities, and large technology conglomerates. Regulation. Decisions for stablecoin arrangements are usually taken by a governance body. Regulation of cryptocurrency or crypto assets in India. Currently, crypto assets are unregulated in India. However, government, through the Finance Act 2022, brought a comprehensive taxation regime for the transfer of virtual digital assets, VDAs. It imposed a 30% tax on capital gains from VDAs. The Income Tax Act 1961 defines VDA as any information or code or number or token generated through cryptographic means or otherwise, transferred, stored, or traded electronically, e.g., cryptocurrencies, non-fungible token, NFT, etc. In 2023, VDAs were brought under the purview of the Prevention and Money Laundering Act 2002. To read more about cryptocurrencies, refer to Article 7.2, Strategic Crypto Reserve in March 2025, Monthly Current Affairs Magazine. 3.9.6, CROPIC. This initiative is part of Digital Innovations in Agriculture for Fostering Financial Resilience. About CROPIC, Collection of Real-Time Observations Photo of Crops initiative. It is a mobile app launched by the Ministry of Agriculture under Pradhan Mantri Fasal Bima Yojana, PMFBY. To take geotag pictures of crops 4 or 5 times during their cycle. It will use an AI-based cloud platform for photo analysis and information extraction, and a web-based dashboard for visualization. Funding through Fund for Innovation and Technology, FIAT, under PMFBI. 3.9.7, Agricultural Outlook 2025 to 2034, released by OECD FAO, released by OECD and FAO. Provides a comprehensive assessment of the 10-year prospects for agricultural commodities, including fish, and their markets at national, regional, and global levels. Global Market Trends 2024, according to the report. Biofuels. Its demand is projected to grow at 0.9% annually, led by India, Brazil, and Indonesia. Cotton. Global use increased. India is set to overtake China as the top producer. 3.9.8, Offshore Areas, Atomic Minerals Operating Right Rules, 2025 notified. These rules are notified in accordance with the provision of the Offshore Areas, Mineral Development and Regulation Act, 2002. About the rules. Objective: to regulate the exploration and mining of atomic minerals like uranium and thorium in offshore areas. Rules will only apply if concentration of atomic minerals above a certain minimum level. Under the rules, entities nominated by govt can be granted exploration licenses or production leases. In case of foreign entities undertaking exploration operations, prior approval shall be obtained from the government authorities. Key atomic minerals in India: uranium, key reserves, Jharkhand, Andhra Pradesh, Meghalaya, Rajasthan, etc. Jaduguda, Jharkhand, is the first mine in the country to produce uranium ore on a commercial scale. Other important mines: Lambapur Pedagatu, AP, Bagjata Mine, Jharkhand, etc. Most of uranium deposits in India small and of far lower grade compared to those in the leading uranium-producing countries in the world. Thorium. India has a limited resource of uranium, but a large resource of thorium. Monazite contains about 8-10% thorium. The beach sands of Kerala and Orissa have rich reserves of monazite. 3.9.9, Global Capability Center, GCC. The finance minister urged industry government to work together to boost the setup of GCC and attract more Fortune 500 companies which are yet to establish their presence in India. On an average, 1 new GCC per week was set up in the year 2024. About GCCs. It is also known as Global In-House Centers or Captives, GICs. GCCs are offshore centers established by global firms to provide various services to their parent organizations. Its services, research and development, R&D, customer support, major drivers in India, cost efficiency, digital and policy readiness, e.g. smart cities, digital India, talent availability, highly skilled, cost-effective workforce with English proficiency, large consumer market, etc. They operate within the internal organization structure of the global corporate organization. Challenges in development of GCCs in India, limited availability of skilled workforce in Tier 2 and 3 cities, infrastructure gaps, physical and digital connectivity, complex regulatory structures, cybersecurity threats, strategic interventions required, embrace next-gen technologies, for example AI, automation, cloud computing, etc., navigate geopolitical complexities, adopt agile governance models to respond swiftly to complex geopolitical scenarios and resulting regulatory uncertainty, redefine workforce strategies, upskilling of talent, adoption of new age skills, and hybrid work models. Sustainability, aligning GCCs with environmental, social, and governance (ESG) goals. March 9th 10. Releases Draft National Telecom Policy (NTP) 2025. NTP 2025 seeks to build on progress made under National Digital Communications Policy 2018. It addresses emerging challenges by next-generation technologies such as 5G/6G, artificial intelligence, AI, Internet of Things, IoT, quantum communications, satellite network, and blockchain. It positions India to become nation of choice for telecom technology under the vision of Bharat, a telecom product nation. About NTP 2025, Vision. Transform India into a digitally empowered economy by ensuring universal and meaningful connectivity, building secure and sustainable telecommunications networks. Mission. It outlines 6 strategic missions. Universal and meaningful connectivity. Expand telecom networks, improve service quality, and integrate technologies to ensure inclusive digital participation. Innovation. Promote research, startups, and strengthen industry. Academia. Government. Domestic manufacturing. Boost economic growth through skilled workforce investments and design-led manufacturing. Secure and trusted telecom network. Enhance security. Promote cyber hygiene and build a resilient, trustworthy telecom ecosystem. Ease of living and ease of doing business. Simplify telecom access, foster digital inclusion, and create a business-friendly environment. Sustainable telecom. Promote green technologies, circular economy, and renewable energy to reduce telecom's environmental impact. March 9th 11. Aluminium and copper. Central
Next
government
topic.
recently unveiled aluminum and copper vision documents. About vision document provides a long-term strategy to meet growing domestic demand while ensuring raw material security. Copper vision document anticipates a 6-fold increase in demand by 2047 and outlines plans to add 5 million tons per annum (MTPA) of smelting and refining capacity by 2030. Aluminium vision document outlines a strategic roadmap to scale up aluminium production 6-fold by 2047 and aims to expand bauxite production capacity to 150 MTPA. Distribution of copper and aluminium bauxite, India or reserve, Odisha 41%, followed by Chhattisgarh and Andhra Pradesh for bauxite. Odisha is leading producing state 73%. World. China is the leading producer of aluminium 58%, which is followed by Australia, Brazil, and India. Copper, India or reserves, Rajasthan, 52.25%, followed by Madhya Pradesh and Jharkhand. Production. Madhya Pradesh was the leading producer, 57% of the production during 2022 to 23, followed by Rajasthan, 43%. World. Chile has the largest share, 19% of world reserves, followed by Peru and Australia, 10%. 4. Security, 4.1. Quantum cyber readiness. Why in the news? METI, CERTIN, and cybersecurity firm CISA jointly launched a white paper titled Transitioning to Quantum Cyber Readiness to prepare for disruptive potential of quantum technologies, especially in cybersecurity.
Okay.
More on the news.
रुक जा. So we have completed security and we have completed 60 pages out of 108. If you want to take a short break here, it has been approximately 3 hours. You can take a short break and then continue the video from security. My aim was to complete this in 4.5 to 5 hours and that I will do. अगर नहीं हो पाता है किसी रीज़न की वजह से, आई विल प्रोवाइड यू अ वीडियो. मतलब ये जब भी वीडियो आएगा ये कंप्लीट वीडियो आएगा, मतलब आप पॉज कर लो अभी, है ना. अगर लंबा हो रहा है थोड़ी देर बात कर लेना, बट करना आज ही, क्योंकि फिर कल दूसरी मैगज़ीन करेंगे, है ना. यही थोड़े बोरिंग समय देखने पड़ते हैं कंप्लीट करने के लिए. आई नो मैंने भगाया है उसे, लेकिन जो इनकी रीडिंग थी AI की, दैट रीडिंग इज़ यू कैन से एक्सेलेंट, एट पार विद एनीथिंग एल्स. लग ही नहीं रहा था कोई AI बोल रहा है, लग ही नहीं रहा था, मतलब कोई ह्यूमन नहीं बोल रहा है ऐसा नहीं लग रहा था. सो फॉर दैट रीज़न आई हैव चूजन दिस. अगर मैं आपको इतना बोलता और बताता तो मे बी आपको समझ में आ जाता, बट ठीक है, वो एक ह्यूमन टच था उसके अंदर भी. बहुत हैवी हो जाता है यार इतना बोलना. इट हैज़ डन अ ग्रेट जॉब. मतलब बीच के इतने सारे कॉम्प्लेक्स टेक्स्ट्स को हटाने वाला काम ये कर देता है, विच इज़ वेरी गुड फॉर अस. ठीक है यार, एक पानी वानी पियो, चाय पीना है चाय पियो, जो भी करना है, एंड वी विल कंटिन्यू फ्रॉम दिस. आप पॉज कर लो, फिर वापस से स्टार्ट कर लेना. ओके.